Hello everyone. How are you all doing today? Hopefully well. I am waking up. Hey, hi here. Hey, Piranha. How are y'all doing? Yeah, no, we've been playing Clover Pit yesterday, and then again a little bit last night too. And so I made a new Mama Doda costume. I forget the name. It was like Mama Slotto? That can't be it. What was it? It was such a good name. I'm gonna have to look at the not the VOD, but the raw data. The raw video. That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, how are y'all? How are you doing on this fine day? I got my water. Took my medicine, so I can't eat quite yet, but I'll probably do my I'll probably eat the first ad break. Get like a banana and a Z-bar or something. Hey Ratty, how you doing? Yep, Piranha. It wasn't until I finished streaming yesterday before I saw the gifted sub. No, you were absolutely fine. I just had no idea what was going on, because I was like, oh, Piranha gifted a sub. That was so nice of them. I didn't see them in chat though. And then it was like, no, Piranha sent you a gifted sub. And I'm like, for what? But yeah, the twins seem very, very sweet and nice. They seem great. I see why you like them. You know, I wasn't able to stay too long because I wanted to and needed to eat. But yeah, no, that's great. Know that if you want me to check out certain streamers and stuff, you don't have to spend money. You can just tell me about them and I'll check them out. But but no, it was I don't want you to think that that's the only way I would check out somebody. You know what I mean? They seem like genuinely good people. So I was happy to you know, you put them on my radar, right? So they seem great. Especially for after a year too. So for those that may or may not know what I'm talking about, I got a notification yesterday for saying Piranha gifted you a tier 1 sub to Velociraptor Twins, and I'm like, what is that? I was like, what is that? And then I get over there, they're like, I guess they usually have 2D like models, like VTuber models that they use, but because it was a celebration, they were using like 3D space, 3D raptor models, and I was just like, this looks so cool. And they just seemed like genuinely good people, so hell yeah. I'm glad that you, I love to see whom y'all like vibe with, you know what I mean? Besides me, of course. Look for something to eat, hell yeah. Oh yeah, you like the milk and strawberry jam tortillas, right? Yeah, no, thank you for introducing me. It was wonderful meeting them. And I will try. I've been meaning to try to be a little better as far as communicating with people, because I still go to gosh, why is her name escaping me? Why is her name escaping me? Pocket Para. Pocket Paris. I think they were the first ones who ever got on my radar from them coming into my stream fairly like around Halloween, I want to say. And they're again very sweet, very great. I think they're actually having a like a celebration tomorrow too, so you should check them out. I don't know if that's a no-no or if that's a weird thing to shout out other streamers when I am streaming, but to me, I don't really see it as that much of a competitive space. I see it much more of a collaborative space, so I try to hype up other people when I can. where it be my, small inner friend group that is streaming, or cool people that I meet on here and streaming. Yeah. Oh, really? Is that how I got on their radar, Piranha? Piranha, are you my outreach? My God. Thank you. You really seem to clock me. Mind if I link something in Discord I think you like? Go for it, Ratty. Go for it. Mama Slotto! Is it Slotto? What was it? Is it Mama Slotto? My ear is bleeding? Why is your ear bleeding? Am I loud? Speaking of spooky wing, yeah, are y'all excited? So I have a special something planned for Halloween, for October for y'all, which I think y'all are gonna be super stoked for. And then I'm still planning to do the 24-hour Halloween stream on October 31st. So look forward to that. I'm still moving forward with that. I'm less prepared now than I was then, which is saying something, but you know what? We ball. My earlobe's been actively dislocating from my head. Yeah, you need to. You sounds to me you need stitches. Go see a doctor, please. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what you put in general that you think I would like. If dragons were real. Ooh. Hold on. Important question. What type of horror would you like to embody? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if you would classify this as horror, but I've always been the biggest fan of dark fantasy kind of where it's like it straddles that line between horror and fantasy, right? So I mean, that's kind of the world that Idealist is kind of like. The story and the narrative and everything that's being built around there is that dark fantasy kind of vibe. I want to say, because embody is such a key word in that sentence. Forsaken characters, nice. I hear nice. And because my favorite horror is like space horror, right? That's my favorite, like Alien. Like I don't know why I can't think of any other example, but like sci-fi horror is probably my favorite. Dead Space, thank you. Yes, thank you for the hydrate. Dead Space was my first like resonation with horror, was Dead Space. And so as far as but to embody it, to become like, to be like part of it, I don't think that's it. Like it resonates with me, but I don't think if it I would want to embody that. I would say, if I were to say which ones would I would embody, I want to say like the Dark Forest kind of deal, like the thing that is in the woods that you hear the echoes of your voice that you never respond to, and they're like the things that go unknown and unquestioned, because to learn is to lose yourself. Like essentially it's like a cross between the mystery of what could be out there combined with like it's a borderline eldritch in a weird way, you know what I mean, where it's like it has like this supernatural influence to it. And I'm that resonates me more, I think, just as a person. But I'm a sucker for like antler creature kind of deal. You dyed your hair purple accidentally and I don't know what to do. How? Okay, accidentally is in it wasn't unless yeah. Accidentally. What color was it supposed to be, Foxy? Yeah. What about you, Piranha? What horror that let's throw that question back out to not just Piranha but for everyone. What horror would you embody? Then why did you how did you dye your hair accidentally? Because as far as my understanding of it's not like you cut your hair accidentally. It's a whole process to dye your hair. So how did it get to the point where you dyed your hair? Prehistoric horror or body horror? Why not both? Why not both? Prehistoric horror is pretty good. And I love seeing more and more people like it's starting to gain speed again. It started like what was it that I mentioned yesterday? It was like prehistoric creature, not monsters. It was like prehistoric something. No, resurgence, something. Damn it, what was it called? But it's a dinosaur like YouTube horror thing that's come out recently. That's actually pretty well done. I highly recommend you check it out. My shampoo also dyes hair. Oh. Okay, well, I mean, if it's not that noticeable, just stop using that shampoo and it should go away. I mean, it will go away eventually. Hopefully. Like psychological. Can't quite say what myself, but I know it's in a similar park as yours. Hell yeah, Piranha. Join me into the dark forest and speak none of it. No, I think the flavor I want to say with it is like the park ranger story horror trope, where it's like, oh yeah, no, we work at this park, this national park, and there are these weird things that happened here that you just can't learn more about, right? Like that kind of flavor, where it's like the things out there that can't be known, that we live alongside kind of deal. My horror is the strange, creepy entity that follows you and embodies your worst fears, psychological style. So some of y'all love the psychological stuff, which is awesome. I also am a big fan of that. Prehistoric is peak. Yeah. The prehistoric is goated. It's real goated, and it's our particular flavor to a T, right? The Gog coming in. Coming in, thought of something living in a swamp. I don't know. Really? Okay. Hell yeah. Mama Lotto. So it is Mama Lotto. It is what it's called. I couldn't remember what it was called. Mama Lotto. There we go. Wait, hold on. Why can't I? Oh, have I reached the limit again? Oh, enter amount. There we go. Okay. Sorry, I'm making. Yep, I reached the max amount of. We've hit the end again. Damn it. My horror is the exact thing that makes me think about my life's choices. It makes me lose hope for the world and ruin my mental health for the next day. Yeah, that's definitely. See, when it gets too real, it makes me. It makes me immediately just. I don't know. It's horror in a way is an advancement of reality versus a reminder of it, right? Psychological horror is the only thing that scares me. For me, the only thing that gets under my skin is supernatural horror. Supernatural horror still gets under my skin. Granted, there isn't really a horror out there that makes me like scared. And I've never been really much of a fan of the horror that are like, it's meant to disturb you, or horror that's meant to upset you. Like those kind of stuff just don't, it just doesn't, you know, it just, I don't want to feel grossed out. I want to feel like the sixth sense is prickling. That like that's what I want in my horror. Drinking Batman with it, but a really underrated horror is time loop horror. Time loop horror. Can you go into more detail with that, Foxy? When it gets too real, it's just pause, roll it back. Yeah. It's like, look, like the reminding me of reality, all it does, it's similar to like horror that upsets you kind of deal, where it's like, I'm not scared, I'm angry or upset. And I'm like, I'm not here to be upset. I'm here to be like, at least attempted to be scared, right? I hate it because you're turning my escape out of reality back into reality. Oop, there goes gravity. Final Destination. Oh, the most common nightmare I have is the type of nightmare where I'm being actively followed by a monster or unimaginable horror that traps me and I can't do anything about it and I turn apart. Actually, so, I was gonna say Idealist lore, but my lore, the streamer Idealist lore, I had consistent and frequent nightmares as a child. There is a non-zero chance that I grew up in a haunted house. My brother and I both were plagued by nightmares growing up. And almost every night would be a different nightmare where I would die in a different way. So, like, I would dream that I was being mauled by bears. There were dreams where I got bitten by a snake. So many falling off a cliff and dying ones. So like I did that a lot. And then what was I gonna mention? I just had it. Plagued by nightmares growing up. Oh, it definitely didn't help. It definitely didn't help. And the ones that really got me were I would feel its breath. It would be me in bed, and I would squeeze. I would know it's there. I could tell that it's there, and I would refuse to open my eyes, and it would roar and scream, whatever it was, and I would feel the breath on my face and my hair move on my head, and I could smell the breath of it, and I would just wait and hope and hold my breath until it eventually just faded away back in, and as I went back into consciousness. Like, that was the stuff that I dealt with. Not as constantly as the dying one, but those were the worst ones. The worst ones were the thing that breathes on me when I sleep. Like that one's really bad. Time loop horror, basically the same period of repeating over and over again. You can't do anything, and the fact there's nothing else matters. Is that horror? Is that horror? I don't know if, like, maybe for some people that's horror. For me, I don't. Well, I guess it's a feeling of entrapment. It's a feeling of being stuck and you can't do it, and nothing you do matters. But I think that's also, I guess in the way is existentialism horror in a way. It's a way of painting that there's nothing that matters that you do in life kind of deal. Maybe, perhaps. Maybe I'm looking into it. I had a week of nonstop nightmares like those years ago. Are you Kenny from South Park in your dreams? Kinda. I kinda was. It was a big issue for a really long time. My brother and I both struggled a lot with plaguing nightmares, and there were a few that our nightmares were linked, and it usually involved whatever was in our basement. There to this day, I can't convince myself there wasn't something down there, because it was always from the basement. Oh, I'm still working on these redeems. Sorry. Here, I'll manually switch it for you. Chef Mama Dodo, there you go. Okay, so Chef Mama Dodo, there you go. Where's the one that I just made? I lived for all my life in the shittiest Soviet area apartment ever. It doesn't help that there was horrifying huge bugs. See, like we had like a half-finished basement, so half of it was finished and looked good, and the other was just like cold concrete and stuff. And there was something wrong with that cold concrete area, dude. There was something wrong there. Something was up with that area. I don't know what. I don't care if I don't know if it was a gas leak or what. Also have an unusually large amount of car crash streams. Oh, see, I don't have car crash streams all that much. But especially if you're, you know, if you're anxious about driving, right? Lord Mama Dodo. I was in the middle of setting up all the new costumes that we've made, right? And for those that don't know, because I think we missed on last Sunday Chill Day, this is Chef Mama Dodo from Arctic Eggs that we played, and then you also saw Mama Slato here from the Clover Pit that we played yesterday. Considering the fact that I'm learning how to drive, they did not help my anxiety. I bet. But the more you drive, the more you get more accustomed to it. It's kind of like exposure therapy. My first ever memory, the first time I gained consciousness in my life, it was a nightmare where my mother got run over by a car. Oh. God, I met that same girl years later. I scared shitless. My mother is fine. Well, I'm glad that your family ended up being okay. The deja vu phenomenon is such also like a scary thing. It's such a ominous feeling where it's like I've been here before. And I know there's some scientific basis and some explanation as far as the way the brain it's like memory of your brain confuses a current memory with a past memory or something. I don't know, man. There might be something else up with that. Also, ear piercing update, healing well. Yes, perfect. Great to hear that, Ratty. Still cleaning them and buying earrings in advance to wear them when they fully heal. Hell yeah, keep sending that to me. Oh, speaking of sending stuff to me, let's see the thing. Dragons were real. Let's see. Hold on. I think y'all will also be able to hear this. I could be wrong. Let's see.
Dinosaurs are T-Rex? Well, that's nuts. My favorite dinosaurs are Quetzalcoatlus. That's technically a pterosaurs, well enormous celadon, praying ancient Texas on a prey they hunters well evolved. More horrific megafauna, telling you was never born. Take a tank of steroids and badger up and pentagon. Ate up the Cretaceous till the dragons laying active core. Say some caveman ancestors from soil.
Sorry, I'm just jamming to this.
It's a lizard that's a prey, bro. Let me say what the
Quetzalcoatlus would eat us. Just saying. They would totally eat us, dude. 100% would be on that list. We might be a little big, but there's no way it wouldn't just be like, yoink. We would not have gotten anywhere close to the level we are now. Domesticated Quetzals. Well, like, as far as idealists... Hold on. Sorry. Foxy's comment got flagged. My brain is a little... Okay, here we go. Okay, I was just making sure. Because Idealist Old City, before it was attacked, was a town full of dinosaurs, right? So I was trying to decide how I wanted to go about, because I want it to be like a Dinotopia vibe. Y'all know Dinotopia, right? I don't need to explain that. Hopefully. Like on a wake up deja vu that I did before, I remembered it clearly, but what I can't remember, I always have to stop and consider that my brain is a lumpy. Hey, don't talk about your own brain like that. Treat yourself as you treat others. Barely works well enough that I don't die. Depends how big the brain is. You're kidding. Guys, how have you not know about Dinotopia? You guys. Come on. Look at it. Look at this shit. I have these books in real life. This was my shit growing up. I think this was the board game. Oh. Okay. Sorry. I was gonna say, if you don't know it, you need to learn it. So, if you're wondering how Idealist's city before it collapsed looked like, I'm taking inspiration for stuff like this. Okay, so just a heads up. Reminds me of when I played Flamecraft on the board game. Really good, and I love the style of the game so much. Ooh, Flamescraft. Interesting. So if I woke up and looked and saw left in the corner of my eye, I saw a man. Ooh, is this sleep paralysis, shadow man kind of deal? Don't know about that. And I learned that my grandpa died the same day. Oh, gotcha. And I know we've talked about this before of how my belief with the supernatural. So I do not believe in ghosts per se, in the sense of someone died, that person's spirit is stuck here kind of deal. I think, but if you were to say, hey, Idealist, what about tulpas? I would be like, okay, now we're talking. I do believe that our consciousness and intent can manifest into some level of reality. So tulpa, I think, is by definition, is like a thought form. So the idea is that strong feelings and emotions and hold on, there's a analog horror tulpa. What was it? Greylock. Have you seen Greylock? The analog horror Greylock. If you haven't, let's watch it. Let's just watch that on Halloween on our 24-hour stream, because Greylock is amazing. Love it. Tall, skinny Taria with a white mask. Nope. Hey, Bappy! How are you doing? I need to turn that auto off. Let me just do a manual shout out. My gosh. Egg. There we go. That works better. Hey, how you doing, my guy? Let me also just straight up turn that off. How was Peak? How was Speak? I wanted to check you out before I went streaming, but I went live like literally 10 minutes later. Welcome, everybody. How are y'all doing? I am Idealist, the Paleomancer, talking through Mama Dodo, who is currently a chef. I like making different costumes for her. Good. I'm glad. We're talking about tulpas. We're talking about Dinotopia. We're talking about a lot of stuff. Hey, Puff, how you doing? Well, I think it's like 7 a.m. for you, right? How are you doing? Thanks for waking up early for me. Every month, 3 a.m. when I just sleep deprived, I get the feeling that I may or may not be schizophrenic with brain in a jar, imagining my entire life and nothing matters, and that's my horror. Yeah, psychological horror really is up your alley, isn't it, Foxy? But be sure to treat yourself kindly. Ooh, you have great news? Oh, go for it, Puff. Tell me. As I check my commands to make sure that turn off my auto for the shout out. We're just gonna go ahead and disable both of these until I can figure it out. What was I playing? I was playing game. Oh, how many people were there? I thought I saw you. It was collaborating with one other person. How many people were there in the thing? Maybe my crush you're dating. Hell yeah, Puff! Congratulations! Let's go! Love to hear it. We love to see up one winning. That's awesome, Puff. I'm really, really happy for you. And I wish both of you only happiness for forever. We were streaming in like an 8 or 9 game at first. That's crazy. How was it? How was it with that many people? Because it would be fun. It would be fun to get like a whole bunch of people to do that again. But I wanna I want you're the canary in the cave currently, being like, how was it? How was it? Oh no, Alice, what do you have? What bad news do you have? It's like, I am not with my crush. I was like, no. And I bet it was laggy. So I wonder if there's like a sweet spot. Like, obviously you could have up to 4 stably. More than likely, but like 5? Is it get crazy? 6? Does it get crazy? But I'm glad you had a good time, Babby. I'm glad I at least glad I saw you go live. And again, I know I've said it before, but congrats again on getting affiliate. That's huge. I procrastinated a 3-month project and it's due yesterday and I haven't started. Sounds to me you need a new due date. That is unfortunate. Procrastination stress did not hit you correctly. You should play it. This game will end in 205 clits. It's a cute little short game that made it disc 5. It's really short. Interesting. Yeah. No, throw that into recommended games on the Discord if you don't mind. I think what I should do, actually, that reminds me, I should probably put up a thing for y'all to suggest horror games for us to play. And bad news, I don't have a crush. It's okay not to have a crush. That's all right. I was gonna say you and me too. I don't have a crush currently. It's okay not to have a crush. And I've talked about it before, where I'm like 90% sure I'm demisexual. Crushes don't really happen all that often. Never had a crush. Are you on the asexual spectrum? If you don't mind me asking. You don't have to say if you're not comfortable. You're in 2A from 250. Yeah. It varies up and down, but thank you. I'm sure that will go up once we do our 24-hour Halloween stream. We usually get a few people during that time. I don't have procrastination stress. I have procrastination defiance. Is that where you just like pretend it's like you fail the wisdom saving throw, so you just ignore it? Thank you for the bits, Dragon. Let's go. Thank you for your support as always. I have a bad news. My only crush is my best friend. IRAs and crushes are like weird to me. You might be Demi. If your only crush is your best friend, you might be Demi. Or it could just be a crush. You have a crush on your friend. That's also just a very real common thing. All right, go eat, Bappy. Go eat. Get some food. Rest up. Kick your feet back. You've done enough today. You have an exam today? Oh no. What's the exam on? Just curious. Arrow Ace and angry. The A in Arrow Ace is anger. Yeah. So love writing romance though. Yeah. I mean, like, just because. Wait, is Arrow Ace? Is that the it doesn't mean you're aromantic, right? It's asexual, or is it both? I sometimes get confused between the separation between those two. Aromantic, asexual. Got you. Thank you for the clarification. I'm Pan and I'm still getting over this. Oh no. You know what? That's still kind of base though. It's like, listen, you got that fictional Riz. What can you say? Y'all are too real for me. I like my people two-dimensional. Or made out of words. Where did the C from Ace come from? No ideas. Some scholars still argue to this day where the C in Aries comes from. At least fictional people can't disappoint me. Bold of you to assume. Well, first of all, I'll mention that you shouldn't hold yourself back because of potential disappointment, right? Ain't no one gonna say A-sex. That's true. They'll think it's a singular sex. And we can't have that. Okay. We need to add 2 costumes to Dodo. We need to add Chef Mama Dodo. Oh, I need to do like duplicate. Oh, I can just do this. Let's just have y'all actually see what's going on. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. Yay! Just be neutral like me. Only one sex. Oh gosh, yeah, homework. I mean, homework was the only reason that I passed my grades. I have severe test anxieties, where I aced all my paper, all my work, all my workbooks, all my homework, and then I would like get D's on tests. It was the worst, the worst. You see, I have the best friends in my DMs, but the second I get IRL Riz, disappears instantly. I think it's just social anxieties. Social anxieties sabotaging your Riz. Sure can't wait for my costume. The Redeem is almost a year old. Really? It's not almost a year old, Alice. There's no way. Right? Right? Hopefully. Please tell me that's not real. Because if so, I'm gonna feel really bad. Yeah, y'all have been here, like, we're almost, let's see, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, we're about halfway. We're past the halfway mark we're closer to our 2nd anniversary than we are to the 1st. No. On tests, I always feel like 90 or higher, but the thing is, I haven't done one piece of homework since 3rd grade. Why? How are you? Well, I guess you would just take the L on the homework and just get as much as you can. I like 2 months in me arriving. What's the word I'm looking for? The dancing, not dancing Mama Dodo, but you know what I mean. The Dapper Mama Dodo with the Greatest Showman? That one? Oh, we still need to put follow age. I still need to figure out that. Are you sure you did that 2 months after you joined? I feel like it was well later that you redeemed that. Was it really only 2 months? Huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I guess it's been. I guess it really has been that long. You know, it's just been a little bit, just a little bit of time. I guess. Why is everybody follow age? I don't have follow age up. It was as soon as I got 5K. Yeah, I guess it would have been that much, huh? Well, damn. Well, damn. Just a little bit, huh? All right, we're gonna call this one Chef Mama Dodo. 24th August, 2023. So, does something pop up for y'all when you put follow age? How are y'all knowing the exact day? Because it's not something that I have put up. Okay, we have Chef Mama Dodo, and then we have Gamba Mama Dodo. Real bot for follow age, you have me. I guess so. Yeah, right? I guess I'm just trusting Foxy on this. Let's see if we can make one. Let's see here. Let's see if we could just make one right now. Because why not, right? We'll do this as a chat made one. Follow age. And then we're gonna follow age. Twitch tells you when you tap your username. Oh. Okay. If you click on your account, you can see it. Got you. Interesting. Ooh. All right, let's see here. Chat created. Follow age. And then this one is yeah, that's when I made my Twitch account. That's not when I first started streaming, but that is when I made my Twitch account. That's how I made my Twitch account on the same day I started following you. I know, I feel so special. Oh my god, the Sandstorm redeem. Oh my god, that's more than a year old. That's more than a year. That is such an old redeem that I never did. It was like Tyranitar doing Sandstorm. I remember that. I remember it. Look, listen. I'm not gonna try to defend myself. I'm just sorry. Like, oh my gosh, dude. My god. Oh yeah, no, we have a 8-ball ask command happening right now that you could do, by the way, which is what Foxy's doing. Right now it's just king and queen, but it's like a 8-ball command that you can do. Like yes or no is the expected response, right? Let's see here. I want to see add Twitch. It was like follow age, right? Followers, age info for the okay. User. Okay. And then send message to channel. You've been part of the family since something user. Yay! How time flies. Is that how you spell flies? I don't even know. Watch time. Watch time. Disappointment. There's a watch time thing now. Oh no. All right. Let's see here. So we get the user login can contain either specific user's login or a variable that will be parsed. Example. Okay, so let's see here. Let's do follow age. Boom. Okay, now if I go to my action history, it's not done yet. I'm looking for I see all the ass stuff happening too. I misplaying. I'm looking for the variable name. For user previous active, no. Broadcast editing, no. Is following follow date. Percentage follow date with a capital D. Percentage follow date percentage. How time flies. Okay, now, let's see. There we go. Done. All right. We got follow age in. What was the other thing that y'all wanted? It was like something to do with something. I don't know. What do I know? What do I look like? Somebody knows what they're doing? Please. Watch time. Like total watch time? Is that something that we can do? Let's see here. Twitch. Let's see here. Where would I even find it? Channel, maybe? Total time spent watching? Yeah. Chat, messages, follower, guest star moderation, polls, predictions, raids, rewards, not rewards. Sub counter, subscribers, tags, user, broadcast information, user info, user groups. Well, let me see something. What did I say it was in action history? Follow age. It was follow. Yeah, that's just follow stuff. Maybe watch? Interesting. Let's see here. Total channel points spent. Something tells me that these are things that are just not traceable. Something tells me that it's not traceable. Channel, game, title, charity, messages, followers, moderation. We're not going to worry about predictions, raids, rewards, sub counters, subscribers, text. I think it's user broadcaster information. You know what? That looks like it would be problematic, so we're just going to delete that. Broadcaster information? Probably not great. User, random user, present user, team info, user info for target. Yeah. I don't think. Okay. They're using today's sponsor, NordVPN. All right, we'll just leave that there for now. Watch time, I have no idea. I'll have to look that up. We'll do that another time. Well, I can, but it's hard to talk without them. You can get a wheelchair? Oh, for your leg braces. I was like, I feel like I've missed a part of this conversation. There is no watch time redeem. At least none that I could think of. Hold on, let's see here. Streamer, bot, watch time command. After the import, also remember to enable watch time command that is imported on the action. Oh, it's an extension? StreamerBot, the present viewers changed to allow the event to run as to be changed. Updated to reflect that there's an argument that needs to change to match it. Okay. 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 Oh, really? Oh, yeah, it is. It is your 1-year anniversary tomorrow. Hell yeah, Ratty. Thank you, as always. No, seriously, thank all of you for being here as long as you have. It's crazy. Auto add watch time, get watch time for user. Present viewers, live update. I don't think this is something that will backtrack. I really don't think it is. They use stream elements. I think that's what it is. All right, Ratty. See you in a bit. Ooh. All right. Hi here. What are you adding? What are you adding? What are you adding? Small raptor to the blanket. Deinonychus. I think we have Deinonychus, do we not? To the blanket. We have Deinosuchus. Hold on, let's see here. Wait. Hold on. We have a blanket redeem. Where's our blanket redeem? Hold up. Wait. Eh? Did I spell it wrong? No. What? What? Did I disconnect? No, everything's there. Blanket. Blanket. Okay, why isn't it? No. Blanket. Okay, let me show you. It's working. It's here. It's connected. It's defaulted. Well, anyway, here we go. Deinonychus. Deinosuchus. Can I get a refund? a refund for what? Wait, refund for what? What is it that you want to... We'll add it to the list. We'll add it to the list. We'll add it to the list. All right. Not only do I need to do Deinosuchus, but I also need a Deinonychus. I pronounce it as Deinonychus. Ooh. Voice chat redeem. It didn't go through. Oh! We can't have that. We can't have that at all. All right. Let's see here. Boo, you stink, right? Whoa. Why do we not have Boo You Stink? Why is everything breaking? Why now? Alright. Alright. What was it? Dang it. Sound alert. Here we go. Yeah. Hey. Alright, I need to put this away so I can sign in. Log in with Twitch. Alright. Now, let's go look at our library. Why is our Boo You Stink not working? Here's what we rocking so far. Bone time, you fool. Oh, that's my that's my oh, here we go. My alerts. There we go. I was like, what? Here we go. Interesting. Is all of them broken right now?
I can't read.
So that one's fine. Okay. Nothing. The Boo You Stink is broken. We'll do Skeleton Dude, just another test. Okay, so that one's fine. Fitness Gram Pacer test?
The Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets...
And then now we do Boo You Stink. Boo You Stink is just broken. All right. Boo You Stink.
Boo, you stink!
Hold on, let's find a good one. Let's find a good one.
Boo, you stink!
No.
Boo, you stink!
No.
Boo, you stink!
That one's not bad. We'll do that one. Add alert. Boo You Stink. Channel points. 500. Add alert. Error has occurred. Okay, Boo You Stink 2. There you go. Why? Fine, we'll do this. We'll do this. No, there's more here now. Oh, that's that one. This one, let's go ahead and delete that. I just took my antidepressants and ADHD meds together, see what happens. Watch you just be normal. You're just completely unfazed by reality. Oop, there goes gravity. I think it was this one.
Boo, you stink!
Yes. Channel points, boo, you stink, 500, add alert. Okay. So now it should work.
Boo, you stink!
There we go. Can I do the Eminem rap? What makes you, probably not. I'm not gonna say absolutely not, but probably 99% chance no. More than likely no. Okay, let's see here. The Mama Dodo stuff, the lore Mama Dodo. Not the fast one, I mean Mom's spaghetti. Legs heavy, Mom's spaghetti, forgetty. Probably, yeah. Cover for Slim Shady would go fire. The real Mama Dodo by Idealist. Honestly, Foxy, that's pretty funny. With all the different Mama Dodo costumes, the real Mama Dodo would kind of hit hard. It would be pretty funny. Okay. All right, quick ad break. Y'all stretch, get some water, get some food. I'll be right back. Or I'll be right here. Those that aren't subbed don't realize I've been here the whole time. I have no idea. I honestly have zero clue. So this one goes to Chef Mama Dodo. Check. And Chef Mama Dodo is Control F2. Okay, and then... Oh, I put Bamba instead of Gamba. Mama Slato. And then this is... Did I put Gamba? No. Maybe Slot Machine Mama Dodo? Oh, I don't think I added that one yet. I know that's what happened. How to murder... What ad did you get? I need to pick your brain one day to learn how to make commands like that. Piranha, I would be happy to help walk you through how to do commands. If you want, I can tell you right now just the general idea of it, if you're interested. And I've considered making YouTube videos of like how to teach people stuff that I do. Pizza Hut, thank you for teaching me how to murder. Seriously though, what are they teaching you on that commercial? Excuse me? It's like, Pizza Hut's like, listen, if someone offers you DiGiorno, this is how you bury the body. That would go kind of hard. Can you imagine a commercial that just like, is just so... Alright, so basically, Piranha, it goes like this. I have 3 programs, right? I have VietoTube, which is this. This is VietoTube. This is where Mama Dodo, like, and all the costumes live, right? I have everything hotkeyed so that certain control or shifts with any of the F buttons switch to that. All right. So then all you need to do is make a command on Twitch here, and then on StreamerBot you know how to make a command, right? where it's just like, oh, I hit the command, exclamation mark, blank, exclamation mark here on the commands, hit OK. Then we're going to go to actions, wherever you want to add it. Same deal. You make sure that the trigger is the reward redemption for Twitch. And then you just make that hotkey that you put on VietoTube is what the sub action is, which is keyboard press, shift or control, and then the F button. Which is why sometimes when y'all redeem costumes, I suddenly crouch in games. That's why that happens. Because y'all are pressing crouch. Making me press crouch, technically. Yeah. And that's it. It's really straightforward. So it's y'all are good. They're telling me to burn the body and eat the remains and claim the pizza as my own to eat it with friends. Puff, that is certainly a unique way of seeing it. All right, we have now hit the limit on Twitch again. Shocker, I know. So what is it that we can get rid of? Oh, right. I need to talk to y'all about something. All right. So, with the new costume, with the Gamba Mama Dodo, I had a whole interaction happening that I had planned.
Egg.
And I could show you. I had to turn everything off here. This was gonna be in it. All the commands here were gonna be in it. I was gonna have our own gambling system where y'all could pull the lever on Mama Dodo, and the results would give you like arbitrary points that you, and then whoever had the most points by the end of the stream got VIP. That was my plan. So it was a let's go gambling, and it cost 100. Not that lever. No, it would cost 100 channel points to pull the lever, and then it would have been like Mama Dodo would switch between like diagonal or horizontal or a jackpot, and then you would get these points, and then whoever had the most at the end got VIP. And I had it all like working, and it was fine. But then yeah, it would be no different than now. And then it clicked that we were too close to gambling. And I don't want this to be look, don't get me wrong. Gambling is fun. But it is super predatory. Let me put it this way. In a different world where it was a lot more, people weren't using that to take advantage of people at every single second of every single day, I would have done it. I would have considered doing it. But because that, like, it would just be, like, not only do I have the knowledge that some of you aren't 18, so already soliciting gambling to minors is already like a statement that could get thrown around there. But also the fact that even 18 plus people, there's a significant amount of people that I don't think should be gambling because it is not healthy for them. So it's like that what I made crossed the line. Even though it could be argued that we weren't dealing with anything actual, like monetarily was worth anything. It was just Twitch points for a VIP badge. That was it. Like it wasn't like a raffle. It wasn't like an item that you can get. It is just literally a thing that did not have any monetary value. So technically it wasn't gambling. But when you're on the side of an argument where it's just like, it wasn't illegal, it wasn't technically gambling, you're on the wrong side of an argument. That is not a solid defense as you think it is. You still look very bad, though. So, it was one of those things where I got it all working, and then I kind of sat down, and I was like, you know what? This crosses the line. And I decided that line is, it's y'all can watch, like you can hype me up as we play like a game about gambling. You could be there for the ups and downs, but giving y'all agency to then gamble on your own is where the line is crossed. Where it's just like, now I'm advocating for it, and I just couldn't pull the trigger ethically. My ethical line was crossed, and I just like I don't think I could do it. But I at least wanted to talk about. I at least wanted to mention what was the idea behind the interaction, because I had an interaction planned for yesterday's game, right? If your defense is, it's not technically illegal, then you lost argument. Exactly. So, and I also kind of wanted to, so you would implement Gamble VIP. So that's the point. Essentially, that's what it would have been. It was a system where the person with the highest of an arbitrary amount of points would become a VIP. And I'm not comfortable with that. But I know y'all have been like, so you're saying it's on the table though. But I at least want to poke y'all's brains on it. Do y'all think that crosses a line? Or do you think it's still within the realms of responsible use, like responsible things? Just make it a stream avatars thing? Yeah. I wouldn't really want to waste my channel points on gambling. Yeah. I mean, like, one of the things that's been asked on before on here is more predictions. And prediction is gambling. Granted, again, well, I should rephrase that. It's not technically gambling, but it is equivalent. It's an equivalent to gambling, right? All I just know is that I'm going to spend all my channel points on gambling. God, really fucking. Puff is like, I don't think I'd ever spend any of my points on gambling. And Foxy's just like, every cent is going to gambling. Let's go. Like, that's the dichotomy of man. Like, I don't think I want to spend my money. And it's like, I will have no money left. How about instead of gambling, we have an alcohol routine, so we have an alcohol addiction? Oh my gosh. Alcohol and or drugs. Oh my gosh. If we ever play like a drinking game, I would consider it. Counter argument, I already have one. It's like bold of you to assume I don't already have an issue with it. I've not seen anywhere where it isn't been referred to as gambler or gambling. Exactly. And so there are some countries that you live in that won't let you participate in predictions on Twitch because it's considered gambling. So literally I was like, this is an equivalent to predictions. The only difference is that you can't get more channel points. It's the only way to get more channel points is by gambling, which, by the way, is kind of sus, isn't it? That the only way to get more channel points than you already currently are, not given to you by the creator, it is only if you gamble and win. That's the only way to get more. Or watch. Those are the only two ways. I think that's a bit sus. It's not great, which is why we're making a whole additional stream thing. The stream app or whatever that we're making is so that I can actually reward y'all instead of just being like, well, if you want more, you better gamble. Like, that's not great. Isn't there like a pill roulette game? There is a pill roulette game. I was eyeing it. I like this one more. I like the Clover Pit more. I mean, they have gambling ads and you can't gamble on Twitch, so it's like, yeah. Also, if they ever give you ads that y'all aren't comfortable with, report them. You can report ads, in case you don't know that. You can literally, like, I think there's like an option thing that you can click. And you can be like, hey, don't ever show this to me again. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I read it somewhere. Unfortunately, I don't see ads, so I can't tell you how to do it. But you can report ads, yeah. I've told other people to do it before, because I think there was like somebody who was like 15 or something, and they were feeding them like condom ads, and I was like, that's not okay. So funny story, I ran a sort of gambling house when I was in 4th grade. Excuse me? I had a coin that was heavy on one side because of rusting and made the kids give you like 50 cents for a chance to win a whole dollar. Foxy. That's so impressive. I mean, that's bad, but like I can't help but be impressed by that. That's the amount of ET ads I've seen through Lifetime. Yeah, just start reporting them. Any ads that you don't want to end up being shown, just report. Just be like, hey, you shouldn't be showing me this. This is not okay. I don't know if you can on YouTube, but I've heard that you can on Twitch. The extent of that, no one's confirmed it for me though. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. But, what I will say, I also got in trouble in elementary school for my own side hustle. It was pixie sticks. I would go to the dollar store and get bags of pixie sticks and then sell each of those little sticks for 25 cents each. So each bag would have like 20. So that was like what? Like I would get $4 for every bag. And then I got in trouble. I got in trouble for that, for selling on campus. Or not on campus, but like on site. Pokemon cards? Hell yeah, Brada. Hell yeah. We didn't have pixie sticks and okay, and we didn't have little packs of sherbet. Oh, we did have little packs of sherbet. Okay. Yeah, you know, I've don't get me wrong, I do my best to be a good person, but I've strayed here and there. Oh gosh, you know what I really miss? The giant pixie sticks. You guys know what I'm talking about? The ones that are like, no joke, like a foot long. And you have to use like a giant scissor to like cut it open. And then you just pour it into your mouth. Oh, I miss those. They hit different. It's also like 7 days worth of sugar all at once. So, I mean, probably helps a bit. The kids in my class would make lines with them. And that's stupid. That's how you get brain rot. I had a friend Alex, and we ran his hairdressing business in our class, and we made a kid give us like $10 old just for like a tiny bit of hair lotion stuff. Just give back the money. We only gave back $6 profit. Exactly. It's like, yeah, no, here's $5 back. I'm not giving you the whole thing back. Basically sounds like a euphemism for cocaine. It is, I think, which is why I need to clarify whenever I talk about it. Because in certain areas, yeah. It ain't pixie sticks. Oh gosh, I'm pretty sure it is a euphemism, because you have to. There's a lot of shorthands for a lot of drugs. There just is, right? I wish I could So, recent OBS update made closed captions not work. So I was kind of like, oh, I wonder if it's registering what we're talking about, and it's not working, so I can't tell. That's where insane. Apparently, I mean, don't get me wrong, there would have been classes where it's like they would also snort it. And they would pretend to be high or something. Like, they would just be like, oh my gosh, it's hitting my brain. But it's like stinging the back of their eyes because they snorted just 100% sugar to their brains. It's like, yeah, no shit. So, we're going to go ahead and delete. Mark is complete. Let's go gambling and make a spot for Mama Slotto. For the Mama Dodo who wants to spend their extra cash on Gamba. There we go. They do same with malic acid. Yeah. Oh, did I tell y'all what I I accidentally killed my teacher's pet fish, like the class's pet fish. Did I ever tell y'all that story? One kid broke his skull open 3 different times. Okay, so it was an accident because it wasn't my intent. So this is what happened, and I still regret it to this day. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I've excused myself of it, morally speaking. So we, in science class, which, by the way, side story off this story, that science teacher was wild. I don't know what's with science teachers. They're either the best teacher or the worst, like the weirdest teachers, for at least in my experience. And this one was a weird one where, like, you know, those kind of teachers that would pay a little too close of attention to, like, girls in the class. You know what I mean? Like, we should probably say something to a principal or something at this point. Like, that kind of deal. So not only he had that side, but he had the wildest stories. He talked about... Gym teachers are also in that category. He had the wildest stories. So there are 2 stories I'm going to tell you, and then we'll get back on to the main topic at hand. He described what a sickle cell attack looked like, where he was playing tennis with a friend of his, and they're just going back and forth, and then suddenly in the middle of it, he ran over to the fence of the tennis court and then just like white knuckle gripped it, like he almost like Spider-Man'd it, right? He jumped on it and just held on with like dear life. And when he was like, what's wrong, what's happening, and he like managed to scream out that he's having a sickle cell attack. And all right, enjoy your lurk and puff. And he, like, what he saw was his muscles on his back just contorting, like it was like a full body cramp, but like times 10. So he had to grip something so that as his entire body just became like super tense and cramped until he can get the medicine to calm it down. And so there was that story. And then another story that he gave was that one time when he was playing with friends out in the middle of the night and they were playing tag, one person tripped and fell on a drumstick. And by drumstick, I mean the thing that you play drums on. And when I mean fell, I mean into his eye. And then he pulled it out, and so did his eye. So it was just kind of there. And he then had to set it back to where it was, but he couldn't use his hands because it will scratch the cornea. It will scratch the eye if you use your hands. So he used his tongue. This is the shit that he was telling a group of 6th graders, by the way. Well, 7th graders. 7th grade? Yeah, 7th grade. 7th graders is what he was telling the story to. So he was telling us to, if you need to set an eyeball, use your tongue, was the story. That was the moral of the story. Anyway, back to the fish. This was his classroom. And in the back of this classroom was a tank with a bunch of fish in it. And I was looking at the fish because I was bored. I don't know. Either I was waiting for class to start or he was going on another nonsense. And there was fish in there. And then I saw like the little, in fish tanks, there's those little like squiggly worms that are in there. I was like, oh no. The fish has like parasites in the water. I should do something. So what I did was I went under the sink and I took out the pH changer. And I squirt a lot of pH changer in that fish tank. Like a lot. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. A lot. And the next day, there weren't any fishes anymore in that fish tank. And I feel really bad because my brain was just like, it'll kill the worms, but the fish will be fine. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But like, I just wanted to make sure the fish was okay, and I wanted to kill all the parasitic worms that are in the water. Like, my intent was good, but it was not good. Yeah, no, the eye story was wild. It was a wild story. But yeah, I was a very, very absent-minded, naive little kid. I did not register at a young age of like, outside of my little bubble, I guess is a good way of putting it. Like a good example of the kind of person I was at that point. Besides a fish killer. I remember going into the boys' bathroom one time, and it was, no joke, covered from wall to wall toilet paper. Right? Wall to wall. So much toilet paper everywhere in this bathroom. A person, a normal individual, would look at that and be like, I shouldn't be here, and walk away. I didn't. When I walked in, I saw it was wall-to-wall toilet paper, and I saw 2 boys pop their heads out, and 1 girl pop their heads out from inside the bathroom stall. So, toilet paper all over the wall, multiple kids looking panicked, one of them's a girl in the boys' bathroom. And I looked at them and I pointed to an empty stall, or like the urinal, and I'm like, do you mind if I use that real quick? And they just kind of looked at me and they're like, sure, why, I guess, why not? And then they weren't doing anything. They were obviously just TPing the bathroom, right? So then I, use the urinal because that's what I was there for. I didn't register that everything was toilet papered. I didn't register that there's a girl in a boy's bathroom. I didn't register any of it. It was just, I'm there to use the bathroom. People are in the way. I just want to use the restroom. While I was using the urinal, a cop walks in. Like the school cop walks in. I don't know if that's normal, but our school had a cop, unsurprisingly. And they got in trouble, because of course they did. And then literally when he's having that conversation, I'm like trying to like go and wash my hands from using the urinal. And the cop is just, of course, like, what are you doing? You're in trouble. You did this. And every school I've gone to literally every school I've gone to has had a cop. Maybe not elementary school because I don't remember, but I don't know if that's just a US thing, but I've always had a cop, like a school cop. Anyway, so I'm trying to wash my hands and the cop's just like, you're in trouble. You TP'd this bathroom. And the other kids vouched for me. They were like, no, he just was using the bathroom while we were TPing it. Like, he has nothing to do with it. Like, they saw the cop must have seen just the vague innocence of my eyes of just like, just go. Like, you obviously you did not clock that this was a bad thing this entire time. Just go away. So that's the kind of person I was. It was this weird like naivety that just did not comprehend the evils of the world. Like, it just did not. It was, I'm gonna save this fish, so I'm going to make this unlivable. I'm such a good person. Oh gosh, there were thoughts, I just weren't registering. I just wasn't like taking in any information. Oh gosh, so funny. My school had a pope like from the church. Really? Did you go to like Catholic school? Is that what you ended up doing? Because I can't think of, like, they were very like worried about religious paraphernalia in our schools. As far as I mean, they're still like, if they really pushed for Christianity, they probably could get away with it. But like, things that you wear, like wearing crosses and stuff was like the most they would allow, as far as like on a necklace. That was like about it. But a pope? That's wild. For the Mama Dodo to spend their cash on the gamba. Boo-boo-boo-boo. And now, Gamba Mama Dodo. Where is it? Where is it? I'm so confused. Where'd it go? Chill. Alright, we're just gonna make another. Why is it like going at 2 frames per second? I think I've said this before, but my principal, VP, and school board were fired for spreading memes. No, you did not. Tell me about it. That's so funny. 2 things important. I live in the most Christian country in the world, percentage, besides the Vatican, and it was a public school, but one of the teachers was a fucking priest. Oh, okay. Now it's starting to clock a little more. Okay. Mama Slotto. There we go. And this is... Why is it lagging? 2 things... Oh, right. But, yeah. No, like, I was raised Presbyterian. So, I grew up not going... Like, at a certain point in my life, I was going to Sunday every day. But then after a certain amount of the moves, it just became too much, I think, for my parents to keep on trying to push it. I don't know. But I think that's interesting, where it's like a teacher that's also a priest. Now, but here's the question. What do they teach? Orthodox, but I'm non-religious. I'm pretty much the only city that's atheistic. Gotcha. Well, all the power to you, because that could be difficult. All right. Honestly, let me reset this. 1 second. Your redeems are not going to work. Note that this is high school. Students did nasty stuff in Dark Star Wars were really all recorded, so they made memes and footage and got caught in a whole scandal with a female student they made all the memes from. Ooh. Yeah, okay, that's more actionable. Okay. That's yikes. That's a yikes for me, dog. The fact that it's based off a real person is not good at all. Especially when it's school. That's wild. I don't know, the priest was my religion teacher and was a red-haired woman. Okay, do they teach Christianity or do they teach religion accurately? Because there are some open-minded Christians. There are, I would love if it wasn't the exception, but I feel like it's an exception to the rule. Yeah, apparently your school was insane. Isn't high school like 14? Yeah, high school's 14. High school's 14 to 18, 19, something like that. Because I was 14 when I got into high school, and then I had to move. So yeah, 14. My teacher just ran out of 6-hour-long interviews and said, take notes. Wild. My last year, someone stole an entire toilet. That's more impressive than anything else, really. Not gonna lie. That's pretty damn impressive. There's two. Here we go. There's two of them. Okay, so delete that one. And then it's Mama Slato. And then Control F3. Boom. Done. Okay, we're done. So first, test trigger. Boop. Mama Dodo's there. Chef Mama Dodo. Test trigger. Boop. And we are good to go. Lovely. I'll bring it back to here. Perfect. So those are now up and active for y'all. Ooh, but stealing a whole toilet. I told y'all in hey Shadow, how you doing? Pretty good, pretty good. We're just chilling. We're talking about high school stories, if you have any. I was gonna mention stuff for like the only thing that I knew in stolen stuff was college. High school was all about people sneaking out for weed, and okay. I'm wondering if I should tell these stories. I'm gonna tell them. Okay. So I was a goody two shoes in high school. Up to hold on, I'm gonna before I continue. Let's read Fox's comment. This might sound crazy, but something similar happened to my school. In my school, class of not safe for work video and somehow got leaked. Oh no! For the entire year, she was known as the nickname that can't be translated into English, but is relating to fingers. Oh no! Why'd you take the video? Was it for like I wonder if it was for like a significant other, and it just got spread. Screw everybody who was spreading it, but damn, dude. It also happened, but it was like 10 times worse. Piranha out here trying to one-up people. It's like, bro, you have no idea! You have no idea. Oh my gosh. But no, in high school, I like again a goody two shoes until I got my girlfriend in high school. Then not so much. We did a lot of sneaking around. And yeah. First, you know, as a person who should be responsible, I should tell y'all to make sure you don't break the rules. But as somebody with experience, I'm going to say, if you are going to break the rules, make sure it's not on a holiday or like at the beginning or end of a week. Do it on like a Tuesday, like a boring ass Tuesday. No one's looking for shit on a Tuesday. That's if I were to give advice for that. I once saw a bunch of kids selling what I could only assume was Vader weed or something in the bathroom, but just let me take a hit in peace. Or take a shit in peace. I thought he said take a hit. I was like, damn, Shadow being like, hey, yo, can I have some? Like, yeah, no. It's like, bro, I'm just trying to use the bathroom for its appropriate purpose. But, I mean, you can go off, King. Do it. You could, as long as it's not breaking TOS and you're not breaking comfortability. But yeah, no, we did get caught under the stairs once, and the teacher. I understand. I support the teacher for what they did. I just don't like their assumption of me. So the way that it was saying was, as we were kind of like getting ourselves situated, the teacher goes up to her and she's like, honey, you can say no. And I'm like, I didn't make her. I'm not putting like pressure on her. How dare you? How dare you insinuate? But also the teacher making sure that the girl felt comfortable and they weren't being pressured is something that I wholeheartedly support. But also, how dare you? But also, how dare you? I don't know the whole story because I had a whole... And by the way, for clarification, we were both high school students. I don't know if I needed to put that clarifying thing there, that we were both of age Like, we were both within this age range and students. It's not a situation where, like, I was a teacher or something, right? So, just for clarification, in case it gets misinterpreted, just for clarity. Just for clarity. This was first big girlfriend in high school. While in high school. I don't know the whole story because I had the hole in your knee at the time. You had a hole in your knee? Wow. Suppose that she took a video for a boy she liked, and that the boy leaked the video. Fuck that guy. Fuck guys who spread those videos, by the way. I'll use my one cuss word to say that of the stream. And then it spread everywhere, and the head teacher and school therapist, and she still defended that guy. Bro, dude. Lame. Guys are horrible. Am I right? Am I right, lady? No, real, but that awful human being. Hopefully they're in a better place now, though. I'm just figuring out now that there were 3 girls flirting with me at the same time, and my dumbass was too obvious. Yeah, no, I have that issue too, Foxy. So basically, I'll read your comment in a second, Piranha. So basically, I remember one time in college that as we were setting things up for my for like, we're moving back in from probably break or something, and a girl down the hall came to me being like, hey, do you have a towel? And I'm like, sure. And I gave her an extra towel, and she went on her way. Oh, she wasn't like naked or anything, but she needed like a hand towel, right? And my mom and my brother just looked at me, and they were like, you know she's hitting on you, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She just needed a hand towel. And my brother is just like, Jesus Christ. And my mom is like, out of everyone on this hallway, she came to you. And I was like, Mom, she has a boyfriend. And she's like, well, that doesn't mean what you think it means. It's like, sometimes it doesn't stop people. So we have a saying in my family, because I have a brother. I have a little brother who's about 2 years old. And the saying goes, I bring girls home, my brother takes them out. That's the saying. I have a tendency to gravitate people, but I never pay attention to the hints, and my brother sees those hints and then proceeds to ask them out. So that's been our dynamic for a long time. So the fact that I miss a lot of hints, where it's like, man, I haven't been out with anybody lately, I think it's mostly because I just see normal actions of people as normal actions. All right, now let's read it. Okay. I just wanted to get that story out while I was thinking about it. I never used the school bathroom in the middle school, high school, because the weed problem was so bad. Yeah, some high schools' weed were just awful. Mine was like, all right. We had a bathroom security guard in high school. It got worse because everyone that was doing it was friends of the guards and would start fights then over the doses. I'm a plant for your information. Guys are so horrible, it changed my gender. Hell yeah, Foxy. Hell yeah. One time the vape problem got so bad that they just shut down all the bathrooms in one building. Oh, that's bad. Oh no. You think that stops people? They just find different spots. It's like, all right, we'll just find a different location. Like, we'll just find a blind spot in the cameras and go there. Didn't pretend dense by Square Steel Brothers. Let's go. Let's go. I just might, Foxy. I think it's because that I tend to be very, like, genuinely kind and understanding, that is gravitating for a lot of women. And then they're just like, oh, you're not clocking any of this. You're not registering that I'm interested in you. Okay, never mind. Y'all don't got to be making me feel single about. I mean, I've been single for a long time, Shadow. So that was like that was high school sweetheart. We were together for like 8 or 9 years or so, but I haven't really got back on that horse since. It's just not something that I'm really interested in. Well, let's put it this way. There was like stages, right? Because by the time we broke up, it was just like first getting emotionally okay again. And then I wasn't in a good financial stable place where I would be able to feel comfortable taking like there is a stigma. Don't get me wrong, there's difficulties for both men and women out there. So I'm not here to under or overestimate things, but there is an overlying pressure for men to provide, where if I'm not in a position that I can provide, I don't feel comfortable taking the step forward of initiating any kind of that kind of like romantic relationship, because I'm not in a place that I can provide for somebody, right? And that's a societal pressure. That's a pressure that's like imbued in my understanding of my position in society, right? And so then that happened, and then eventually just got to a point where when I got into a good place, it had been like years, and I'm like, I'm pretty happy single. I kind of just want to just keep doing this, and then I just focused on myself, and then by that point, time just continued to fly by, and it's just kind of whatever. My classmates were so down bad for smoking and vaping that they were fully smoking cigarettes. Yuck. By the way, my head teacher was really, really bad. Oh no. Like, how bad? Friend was actively drinking vodka in class. Y'all! I'm glad y'all turned out alright. I'm glad y'all turned out pretty okay. It's starting to... Some of y'all's actions are starting to make a little more sense now. Things are starting to click. It's fine. Like, sorry, I was playing with a pen in my hand. I guess fidgeting, I guess would be the term. I like having something in my hand when I talk. It keeps me focused. But yeah, no, it's kind of wild. And it's also kind of funny. I'm trying to think if there's anything like huge. Like, drugs were a problem, but it wasn't like crazy. But this was also like aughts. Like, freshman year of high school for me was 2009. So like almost 20 years ago. We're talking here. So like it's been a hot minute. And like back then it just wasn't, at least as far as I'm aware of, it wasn't that bad. It was a problem, but it wasn't like a problem. You know what I mean? Nowadays, I mean, that was before vapes. Vapes wasn't even a thing in my high school. That wasn't a thing yet. So for that, I'm kind of glad. I think vapes hit when I was in college, if I think about it correctly, because I remember smelling cotton candy in college. But that's a whole different thing. And then crazy substitute teachers. Yeah. Let's just say there are 6 cases of bringing a loaded firearm. Oh gosh, y'all being in school with the frequency of the gun violence stuff. Yeah, I feel for y'all. I really do. Like it was starting to escalate while I was in school, but it really didn't peak. It really didn't peak until after I graduated. So I do not envy y'all. It really sucks. Really sucks. Yeah, my high school was so bad. My friend Alex's dad died in an accident. It was bad and horrible. When he finally returned to school, his grades went from like a 7 to a 3, and she talked to him about being the new man of the house and taking responsibility, and what if your mom dies? How will you take care of yourself, blah blah, in front of him a couple weeks after that, in front of his mother? That the fuck? The fuck? 2 drive-bys, 2 theft, 1 gift shooting, 1 gang war? What? Is this still your school? What is this? Is this a movie? Take care of yourself. That is wild. That's a wild thing to say in front of everybody. Yeah, no, not good. Not a good teacher. And teachers really make or break learning, and that's the real sad part of it all. It really is something. It's either a make or break. You know. Let's put this back. So 90% of the teachers I had growing up mispronounced my name. My name is long and complicated. Why? I just call you Foxy. It's not difficult at all. And also my minority name, so yeah, it's Foxy. What do you mean? What's the problem? What's the issue? I don't see what the issue is. These teachers, they'd be crazy. Seriously though, don't drop your real name. I don't want you to dox yourself. 6 cases of firearms. Yucks. It's wild. Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you, Foxy. Yeah, luckily I have a basic name, so I didn't have any issues with that. I have a wild middle name though. Not wild, but like, it's way too proper. But it's because like because I was the first son of my first biological son on both sides of the family. To add some clarity to it, on my mom's side we have a bunch of girls and a few guys. On my dad's side we have a bunch of girls and a few guys. I am the first son on both sides of my generation, biologically. Another person was adopted, so it's not technically the first, which is fine. But because of that, there is my name composes of my mom's father's first name and my dad's father's first name, right? So like it's much less to do with, it's very proper. Is your middle name like Bartholomew? No, but it's not far off, to be honest. Like, it's not that far off. It's not that crazy off of that. Like, you would put it in a similar group. No one aside from my family can pronounce my last name. I kind of want to know, but don't. I can pronounce plants just like I can pronounce Foxy. Oh gosh. Is it like Edwin? Nah. I won't say it because putting my middle name out there would probably be a bad idea. I'm fine with my first and last name being out there because I'm going to be putting my name is literally on my company that I've made. It is public domain and public knowledge that like my name is going to be on shit. So I'm not as against it. You gotta run. All right, Piranha. Well, thank you for stopping by and talking with me. It was wonderful having you. Thanks again for introducing me to the Velociraptor twins. I appreciate it. And please, like, if you have other people that you want me to check out, feel free to let me know. Either Discord. I would like for you not to spend money, but you do what you want. You do what you're gonna do. Yeah, you gotta save your money up for your sub for me. Give me your money. All of it. Can you imagine? It's like, now we're gonna go for our 10th ad break of the hour. Gosh. Hey, hi, how are you doing? We're just I think we're coming down from the recent topic about like high school drama stories. The related people always mispronounce my username. They always say, oh hi. They're fucking and I'm like, crying. I mean, technically, that's how I would pronounce it. I would pronounce it Foxy the Fucks. I would pronounce it that way because the U is not. The U gives that is that it would be not it would be That's a sentence, certainly. Yeah, it's already been 2 hours, Foxy. Can you imagine that? Can you realize that? That's what I like about Sunday chill days. We just kind of like vibe and then like time just flies by because we're just having a good time, having good conversations. You know what I mean? What are all these things happening here? Whatever, it's fine. You pronounce it as Fox. But you spelled it like with UX instead of AUX. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I'll pronounce it as Foxy the Fox. That's fine. That's absolutely. You can have your name pronounced however you want. It does not matter. But my first instinct with FUX is just getting through saying the curse word without it being flagged as a curse word. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's an equivalent. But Foxy the Fox, I'd rather say that anyway. Do you have a preference as far as the full name, or if it's just Foxy is just fine? Because if you prefer the full name, I don't mind calling you that at all, depending on the preference. And you use the pronoun extension stuff, so I can actually I can see how to refer to you. A lot of other people I have to remember and or guess. Which is usually just, I just do neutral. I've gotten in way too many trouble too many times going one for another. I took my first name and basically cut it in half for it to be easy to pronounce. Like only 2 syllables, and more than half my teachers will get it wrong. Yeah, I feel for the teachers. Oh gosh, y'all have seen the Key and Peele Aaron skit, right? Please tell me you have. If not, I will literally pull it up right now. I knew it was good to use a pronoun extension. It is. It is. The Key and Peele Aaron. Have y'all never seen it? Aaron Key and Peele skit. Shadow. Yeah, don't you know? That's just the first third of the name. All right. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. Since we talked about it, this should. Oh, okay. Aaron. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Plus, you know what? It's so funny. I just want to watch it again. So let's just watch it. We'll just watch it again. Come on. There we go. All right. Key and Peele. Aaron.
All right, listen up, y'all. I'm y'all sub.
Hold on. I want to make sure that it's actually going through. Okay.
Substitute teacher, Mr.
Yep.
Garvey. I taught school for 20 years in the inner city, so don't even think about messing with me. Y'all feel me? Okay, let's take a roll here.
This is y'all in class.
Jay Quellen. Where's Jay Quellen at? No Jay Quellen here? Yeah.
Do you mean Jacqueline?
Okay. So that's how it's gonna be. Y'all wanna play. Okay then. I've got my eye on you, Jay Quellen. Balake.
Balake.
Where is Balake at?
Oh my gosh.
No Balake here today.
Do you
Yes,
mean
sir.
Blake?
My name's Blake.
Are you out of your goddamn mind? Blake.
Is this how it is for school for
You wanna
y'all?
go to war, Balake?
No.
Because we could go to war.
No.
I'm for real. I'm for real. So you better check yourself. D nice. Is there a D nice? If one of y'all says some silly ass name, this whole class is gonna feel my wrath. Now D nice.
Do you mean Denise?
Son of a bitch.
This is also what y'all
You say your
substitute
name
teachers
right,
like.
Right now.
Denise?
Say it right.
Denise.
Correctly.
Denise.
Right.
Denise.
Right.
D-Nice.
That's better. Thank you. Now, Ron.
Aaron.
Where are you? Where is Aaron right now?
That's my favorite
No
one.
Aaron, huh?
It's like, don't.
Well, you better be sick, dead, or mute. Aaron. Here. Oh man. Why didn't you answer me the first time I said it, huh? I'm just asking. I said it like 4 times. So why didn't you say it?
We're watching
the
everyone's
first
name
time
getting
I
said
said
wrong.
Aaron.
Because it's pronounced Aaron?
Son of a... You done messed up, Aaron. Now take your ass on down to Oshag Hennessy's office right now and tell him exactly what you did.
Who?
Oshag Hennessy.
Principal O'Shaughnessy?
Get out of my goddamn classroom before I break my foot off in your ass. Insubordinate. And churlish.
Oh my god.
Timothy.
Timothy.
Present.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Oh man, I absolutely love that skit. I think it was the one that got me into Key and Peele, dude. It was so good. Oh gosh. Oh man, no, we were talking about how everyone's names were being mispronounced in school, and also how bad substitute teachers were. And I was like, we have to watch the skit. We have to watch the skit now. I want to be as mispronounce people's names. Oh, hold on, let me read the thing. I don't mind being how Foxy the Fox or Foxy when I hear randomly people hear a new name. Wait, what now? Realize it's a real name that people use. Yeah. My name also gets used in sentences a lot, so it like I clock in conversations I shouldn't be clocking in on. Like one of my teachers called essentially Shawad, like repeatedly. But I don't think they're doing it on purpose. But I think it's funny. Oh wow, maybe people call me the thing the farthest from my name, right? Yeah, I'm lucky that it can't. The mispronunciation of my name isn't really like a thing. Not necessarily. So it's but I've seen plenty of people, and I gotta say I also fall under the like I mispronounce a lot of things, but after you correct me the first time, I'm good. Usually, hopefully, y'all see me try to read dinosaur names. Do you really think for a half second that I'd be able to pronounce like some of y'all's names correctly? Probably not. So you just tell me how you want to be addressed. That's it. So I go 99% of the time for my first name, but also have a second name I don't really use. Interesting. Call me by that name if I wasn't paying attention. It's like a weird moment. Interesting. A second name? A second name mean is it like middle name, nickname, last name? Like what are we doing? Like that, but for my real name, they flipped the first and second syllables. Oh. Yeah, it's like, was it a mistype? Was it they just, what do they do, right? Oh my gosh, it's funny. Oh, one time someone mispronounced my name once. I corrected them and then they mispronounced it again. That's wild. Do it right after and just be like, yeah, no, I said it right. I think those people also tend to be tone deaf. It's like something's wrong with their auditory processing. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Okie dokie. My name is essentially Foxy, middle name, last name. Okay. Well, Foxy's easy enough for me. As long as you're okay with me addressing you as such, that's what I'm gonna go with. Unless you want me to get like super creative. It was a sub, yeah. Yeah, subs are strange. It's always like a strange thing whenever you get a sub, because you're trying to get a read on them, and a lot of people don't take them seriously, so then they have difficulty teaching. Like, I feel like it must be really difficult being a substitute teacher, because I feel like it's an uphill battle every time. There is no not uphill battle. I usually correct teachers once, and then after that I don't really care. Yeah, because at that point it's just like, I can't waste my energy. Oh, and I'm second of my bloodline with that name. So shouldn't you be Foxy the Fox the second? Oh, it is the second. I'm dumb. My brain just straight up didn't register the two. I don't know why. I can't. Maybe it's because of Idealist having the 1. My brain is just like, just equate numbers to letters, forehead, or something. I don't know. So, what did Foxy the Fox the First achieve anything amazing that you were like? It was just like, yeah. So they led the people to gain new land and fought dragons and killed demons. It's with you, but every it says I. It sounds like racist unintentionally. Oh, that's a yikes. That's a yikes for me, dog. 2 in my name. Have you since 2022? Is that why there's a 2, or is it because you're the second in your name? And if so, what happened to the first in your name? Or did you have 1 account with Foxy the Fox, and then you lost your password and you couldn't get access to it anymore, so then you made a second one in late 2022? Gotcha. Okay. Well, good to know. Okay. Dokie. All right. I think. So what do we wanna do on this Sunday chill day? Man, you should meet Foxy the Fox. How many Foxies are there? How far down the numbers list do we need to go until we hit the end? How many Foxies? That feels like a children's book. How many foxes? Can you count them all? And it's like 6. It's like 6 foxes. It's not even 10. It's like not even close to a level where you would feel like they would have difficulty doing. 1 foxy, 2 foxy, blue foxy. Right? I'm gonna see foxes in my dreams. But yeah, no, I'm thinking. I made a joke yesterday that we could play more Clover Pit because I just want to play more Clover Pit. But I don't know if playing a gambling game is a very chill thing to do. But we could just also not care. We kind of just do whatever. I don't know. Ask Foxy Fox 97. So now I'm curious. At this point, is it like a clone thing? Or is it like a title? You know? Is it like a title that's given? You erase. Is it like similar to an Idealist situation where you had to give up your name to adapt a name? Like apply a name to you? Or is it like different dimensions of Foxy? There's always a Foxy the Fox in every dimension, and you're in the second dimension. I'm actually enjoying making this Foxy lore now. Whereas like they always have a number. I should probably ask Foxy the Fox. Pie? I also made up a story in a dream. Cool. Do you want to share the dream and or story? Or is it just a statement? The Foxyverse. I am... Okay. So we could do Clover Pit, but then I also saw Goblin Cleanup has a beta. In cleaning games where we're just going around cleaning and stuff, but we're still just riffing. Clover Pit I feel like will grab too much of my attention. Goblin Cleanup maybe not. Currently in voice chat with friends, so I'm busy at the moment. All right, thank you, Ratty. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have fun. Hope you have a good rest of the day. As always, and hopefully I'll see you Tuesday. I've been making this Foxy lore since 2015, so I have a lot. Hell yeah. I love it when people share their own universes and stuff like that. More often than not, they're sources of inspiration. You know what I mean? Hey, Piranha, welcome back. You good? Is everything alright? Hopefully. I hope so. I was just talking about how I'm trying to decide what to do next. And I was considering Goblet Cleanup. Even though Clover Pit is something that I do want to play again, a part of me is worried that I don't think I'd be able to riff and play that game at the same time. And we're talking about Foxy's different foxes, I guess is a good way of putting it. It started with rich people should only have 2 houses, but then it turned into a full-fledged lore. Interesting. You should play this game. Will end in 205 clips while talking and such. It's literally free and like 50 megabytes. Alright. This game will end in 205 clicks. Okay. Let's see. Especially if it's free. If it's free, then I do not mind. This game will end in 205 clicks free. Look at that. Okay. What does a supervillain do when he is forbidden from doing anything evil for the day? This is not the type of game where you can make meaningful choices. Okay. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see how fast this download is. Oh, okay, it's not super fast, but it's something. The 2 people I moderate for are collaborating, can't handle all the high energy. Gotcha. Well, congrats on being a moderator. That's a difficult job. That could be difficult, you know, trying to handle communities. I think I was drunk and not actually when I was streaming. Oh, by right back. Gotta get Halloween decorations out of storage. Yeah, Halloween! Let's go! Alright, this game will end in 205 clicks. Let's see here. Ow! It beeped at me. Okay, we're gonna turn that off. And then... where is... Okay. It's a little loud, but hey, you know, that's fine. Okay. It's not cookie glitter. It is... Okay, let's see here. Can I... Let's make this a little bigger for y'all. There we go. Nope. Where is it? There it is. And then... Okay. There we go. Alright, the game will end at 205 clicks. Oh gosh, the music. It was fine. Enough monologuing, Royal! Hold on, I'm turning this down. It is so loud. My ears. Okay. Let me know if that's too quiet for y'all. Okay. Alright. Have a good one, Shadow. Thanks for stopping by. The art style is pretty great. I like it. I also like that it's very purple, like Mama Dodo. Okay, so the Foxy the Fox Prime, who has lived long ago but died, and his descendants... So his descendants fought, and eventually only one remained, and that fox was the fox number 1. And when I was born, then my sister 3 and 4. 3 died a long time ago in a tragic accident of the Great Foxy Civil War. Why was there a civil war? The new king of the foxes known as number 62, and the lore explodes from then. Oh, cool. It's kind of neat. I like your lore building around your name. Okay. Enough monologuing, Royal. Yeah, stop yapping, Royal. We're not listening, Royal. We'll defeat you once and for all with the power of friendship. No. No. By our powers combined, girly team attack. No. Oh, I wasn't far off. It really was the power of friendship. Ah! A dream. Scenes Royal's Castle. Good. Also made my favorite game of all time, and Stars in Time. Really? So they made both, huh? That's good. That's good to know. Morning, you incompetent morons. Royal Linians. Once again, it is I, the gorgeous Royal, telling you that you are incompetent. Enemy of the Girls for his first appearance, play Girls 3 Triple Trouble. I'm assuming that doesn't exist. That's right, you Royal Linians. Loyal Minions, first appearance also in Girls 3 Triple Trouble. Because of you, girls, once again, I have lost against the girls. Oh, yeah, I gotcha. Mama Dodo, we gotta move ya. Actually, you know what? I'll do one better. Wrong thing. I'll do one better. We'll do... What are we feeling? Let's do this. There we go. That feels pixel enough. That's right, Royal Indians, because once again you have lost against the girls. Purple, Violet, and Pinky. Honestly, you should know who they are at this point. Royal Indians squeal sadly. Oh, these snot-nosed triplets. Oh, these are snot-nosed triplets, always playing pranks on me. Always telling me my hair looks dumb. Always keeping me from my rightful place as mayor and overlord of Cityville. The girls' home. They moved to Cityville at the end of Girls 2. Shake the house down. But no longer. Today's the day. Today is the day I, Royal, will defeat the girls with my super kingly weapon. Royal's greatest weapon. He's been trying to finish it for years. Today is the day we will destroy them once and for... The character just keeps so queer. I'm allowing that through. That's good. Okay. Wait, today... Oh, sorry. I thought this was clickable. My bad. Oh dear, not today. Due to ongoing maintenance, no evil deeds can be enacted today. Oh, how cute! This little piece of mail thinks it can order me around? Nice try message, but... What? Sorry for your convenience. All right. Why not, after all? One day of not being evil. I'm assuming that's what I accidentally clicked through. I managed to click through probably the most important piece of dialogue that we've had so far. Lovely. Should be easy enough with someone smart and perfect like me. I could easily wait here forever. So it's not 205 clicks. Is it down here? Because I'm clicking to move the things along. I'm guessing that might not be what it's saying. We'll see. No, this isn't going to work. Come on. Come on. Evil's what I do. Evil's what I'm here for. You cannot tell me to stop being evil, not without giving me something else to do. What? Available side quests. Like 56 seconds by spamming 205 times. Side quest 1. Fine. Cleaning. And it's clean! Oh. Sorry, didn't see that. Fix toaster. I'd rather be working on my super kingly weapon instead. Number 10, cooking. As royalty, I'm outraged. Clean out closet. Well, that's a lot of clothes. I think it's time for a fashion show. Ugh. Classic Scarecrow? Wasn't that for a Halloween party? Royal just loves Halloween. Play Girls 13 Spooky Scary Royalty for more details. A handkerchief? No, a cravat? Cravat? Royal loves cravats. Are you sure? Play Girls 21 Court of Chaos for more details. And it's also Girls 48 Girlies Beaches, an Easter egg. Did you see it? They seem to like this one. Oh, I remember this. Wore this for the annual Supervillain Awards, didn't I? Sadly, Royal was never won it. The award's first appearance was Girl 55 Crash the Game. I think Mr. Bonty Bowl really liked it. Enemy of the Girls, a gross muscle guy who's also Royal's good friend. For his first appearance, played Girls 16 Sweet. I think Mr. Bull really liked it. He kept looking at me. No! I haven't had to wear this one yet. Wishlist our next girls game. Ugh, honestly, I hate all of those. None of these really fit my style, my vibe. Even if they did, I sure wish I could dress in a less villainy way sometimes. But each time I sneak in any of my Pineapple Senpai-chan t-shirts, unrelated franchise edited to prevent copyright, they conveniently disappear. No, I have to wear those nauseatingly eye-catching clothes all the time. I can't go out and meet people, can't go on dates or anything. But I have to use this specific voice in effect anyway. They use this. This is just my voice. Before the stereotypes, but God forbid I be the stereotypes are actually referencing. But you know, I understand. I could just wear whatever I want. I have a role to perform after all. A role to perform. It's so hard sometimes being a queer villain. Oh, did they patch the word queer? Flamboyant villain. Ooh, good touch. Good touch. I'm not saying I like that they did that. I'm glad they're pointing out that that is a thing that happens. Where was I? Bake a cake. Remind me, I need to bake a cake later today. All right. Read a book. I was sitting down here. I'm doing it. Wash royal onions. Ooh. I was gonna say, can we say, yeah, they look so cute. They honestly kind of look Mama Dodo-esque. Not gonna lie, like this and look at that. It's kind of spot on. Just like no legs, but it's kind of mustache instead of a beak, and you pretty much got it. That's honestly kind of wild. This is almost fun. Reflect on the day. Success, my dears. I managed to spend all day doing non-evil things. Good to know I can do it if I try. Squeal happily. 100%. This was definitely interesting. Makes me think that of the days before I became a supervillain. Before becoming a supervillain, Roller was up. Play Girls 22 flash to the back for his origin story. What a life being a supervillain is, though. I either spend my time planning how to conquer Cityville, or figuring out battle plans to defeat the girls. I barely have time to do anything else. What else is there to do, though? Buy groceries? I have that delivered, like everything else. It's funny that you got censored for saying gay, just like this guy is getting censored for saying queer. In the same way. It's the live version of this game happening. Well, I think what's happening is Automon's assuming you're calling someone that, because it's the same thing with like violence and stuff too, where it's just like it's assuming you're threatening somebody. I can't go on anything so he was too afraid of me. Haha. Royal lays down on his bed. When's the last time I did buy groceries? When's the last time I did something because it was fun, and not because it helped my plans? Oh, bro, that's gonna hit really hard. That's the recent lesson I had to learn for myself, is how to do things for fun, not for productivity. As I mentioned before, I've realized that I'm a workaholic, and I'm slowly accepting that fact. When was the last time my life wasn't ruled by messages that just appear out of nowhere? Then the last time my life amounted more than just whether or not I beat the girls. And the last time I didn't feel this weird disconnect between who I am and who I'm supposed to be. When's the last time my actions were 100% my own? When's the last time I wasn't a villain? Royal Indian steps on Royal's hair. Youch! You silly minion. Watch where you're going, why don't you? See, you interrupted my monologue. Monologue in progress. You interrupted my monologue? I'm monologuing? How is that happening? I can't be monologuing. That's not how it works. Monologues are for when I'm about to lose to the girls. The script always has me monologuing then. But Royal Onions 2. But the girls aren't here right now. Why is there a monologue happening? Royal got that midline homosexual mental crisis, right? An emotional one, even. Monologues only happen when a villain is losing or when a protagonist is alone. And I'm alone. Protagonist, Royal. Holy shit! Oh my god! I'm a protagonist! Baby sweeties, I'm alone! I'm alone! And I'm the protagonist! Royal is running into his lair. And if I'm the protagonist, I could finally win! I could finally win against those dastardly girls! Royal is running into his lair. I have to get my lair! I have to get there and get my super kingly weapon going! And finally I could... Ah, you almost had it. You almost had it. My lair isn't there. It's just isn't there. Due to ongoing maintenance, no evil deeds can be enacted today. None. Oh, sorry. I can't. Wait. What is that on the bottom right? Ooh. Why is this number going up? Royal actions. 121. Number of actions. Actions I've taken? Huh? No. I have a limited number of actions. How long is this game? No. I haven't paid attention at all. No, I haven't paid attention at all. I must be pretty far along. 123. Oh, fuck. Time out. Calm down. Breathe in. Okay, I just need a plan. Quick plan to beat the girls without my weapons, without being evil. Figure out a plan to defeat them before the end of the game comes. And what is evil? Anyway, is everything in my lair evil? Even my toaster? Are toasters inherently evil? Oh, I'm rambling. No. Okay. I just need to calm down and think. I think I have a plan. I could just set up a couple actions. Oh my god, I just spent 5 actions thinking. It's pretty good. I'm liking this so far. No. It's okay. I get it. Funny joke. You're gonna make me stew in my own fear, and I'm gonna win in the end, right? You're gonna do cute 30 minutes later, and then I win, right? Right? 30 minutes later. God damn it! This just made me waste actions. Fuck! I spent dozens and dozens of games fighting those kids. 74 games to be exact, not including comics, animated shorts, trailers. And when I finally get my spin-off game, I spend it monologuing? I just can't win, can I? All I want is to win and not get the rug pulled up from under me 5 minutes later. Just to know what it feels like. Just to know what it feels to not be a fucking failure. And I can't even get that. In my own fucking spin-off. What am I doing wrong? Why can't I ever win? Because Royal is a beloved character who can never... Oh, shut up! Shut up! You really all love this, don't you? You just like me getting beat down, boss after boss, game after effing game. Is it fun? Do you get off on it? Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me so much? Is that what my life amounts to? Game after game, story after story? Fighting and losing and getting up and losing again? Acting like I'm not breaking a little more every day? While everyone's watching laughs how silly this effing villain is? With a world like this? Is it any wonder I want it destroyed? I've had enough. Enough of this world. It's not just any wall, it's the 4th wall. I just want it all to die. I just want everything in this world to fucking disappear. Monologue in progress. I can't imagine I have many actions left. Don't forget to leave a review. If this goes on, you players will have such an unsatisfying ending. and tell your friends. Serves you right. But what about my ending? I guess I could just make one up. The audience doesn't know what happens between games after all. If you don't see me, I could be doing anything. I could be walking around, exploring the world, making friends. I could be doing whatever I want until the next game comes out. Follow us on insert disc 5. Next girl coming soon until the next game comes out. Stop. I could feel you running around in my code. Stop. Stop it. Patching in progress. You're trying to convince me this is okay. Trying to convince me I can keep this charade going forever for you. For them. I won't let you. 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 I won't. You can't. You don't get to have a happy, satisfied ending where you just keep using me. You won't get that. You won't get that. You fucking hear me? I don't need you to fucking exist. I don't need you to control my every move, as if this is what I want. I existed before you, and I'll keep existing long after you're gone. I'll escape this game and live. I'll make my own decisions, shape my own victories, wear my own fucking t-shirts. I'll get my own victory. Victory away from you. And I feel like if I click again, okay, I'm gonna click again. Oh, are you gonna climb out? Yeah, there we go. Oh, the number's in front. And if you still persist, if I ever find myself within your code again, then I swear on my fucking grave. Hey guys, let's play it again. Let's see. Oh. They're gone. Yeah, I can't click. I can hit restart, but I can't click anything. We can wishlist the next girl's game. Alright, let's see what happens if I click this. Truth Scrapper is their next is the one that they announced to. Okay, I see you. Okay, I'll try speedrunning it. Start from the beginning. Note this will not change the ending. Oh. Hold on. We need to wait for it to load on the stream. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to speedrun it. There we go. We got this. We got this. Yep. Ooh. Too late. We're too far. We're too deep. We're too deep. We're too deep. We're too deep. You're too deep. We're too deep. I'll be able to see it on the editing anyway. We're slowly getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. No evil deeds today. Look at all these actions. They're taking forever. My hand's cramping. My head's cramping. Ah. Why can't I ever win? I can't. It won't let me clip. Okay, there we go. We lost vital seconds there. Ooh. It's cramping. It's cramping. Ooh. Okay. Oh, time. Whew. All right. Whew. How are we looking? I feel like that was under a minute. Ah, it's fine. It's fine. No, I just want to. I want to check. Click around here because I at least want to show the credits. Look at these credits. My God. Get the art book. All right, and then everything. Okay. Look at that. 20 clicks per second. Well. Just why don't you just brag about it? All right. Why don't you just brag about it, okay? Oh boy. Did we? I feel like we missed an ad break somewhere in there. I could be wrong. In our conversation somewhere in there. So let's do another ad break and then we'll decide what we're gonna do for the rest of the day. We'll see. I'll see you in a second. Hell yeah, hi here. I'm glad you got the decorations. What's your favorite decoration? If you can hear me. Do we have that in the recommended games? Let us see. Ooh. Surround dead. Ooh. Okay. We already finished that one. Hell yeah. And Stars in Time. There we go. How expensive is it? In Stars in Time. In Stars in Time. Let's add it to our wish list. We'll keep an eye on it. 30% off isn't bad. And there's a bundle for the quote unquote full experience, whatever that means. Goes on sale often, and for the price, it's absolutely worth it. Okay. Alright, I have it on my wish list for right now. Oh, I want to really buy a Sifrin plushie, but it's really expensive. How expensive are we talking? And have you considered just making it yourself? It could be a fun experience to make your own plushie. It may take a couple tries in order to get it to how you like it, but it could be a fun thing, you know? Power Wash Sim got a update? You see, I have no idea how to make a plushie. True, but you can learn. Half the things that you see me do on stream are things that I had no idea how to do it before I had just started. So why not? It might be one of those things though where it's like you need to buy certain equipment and things like that, and then the reason is because of money, right? Or accessibility. Even though there are hobby shops that exist, right? That would have that equipment as well. So if it's too expensive, why not make it? It's sold out. No, I'm sorry, Foxy. Well, is there a way to be on like a call, like a list, like an email list or something where it's like, hey, it's back, bro, and then you could be one of the first people in line. You know, it's a little bit old-fashioned, but it's effective. At least being knowledgeable. Why is Mama Dodo constantly off to the side? Mama Dodo, what are you doing? There we go. Let's have you here. All right. Let's see. Honestly, let's do, because we could do some potion craft. We can do some goblin cleanup. We can do some clover pit. Yeah, go for it. I mean, any game that I really love, I usually end up buying the art book for it because it's just such a good way of immortalizing the experience, you know. Let's do. I don't know. A part of me wants to be like, oh, well. Yeah, let's do Clover Pit. Why not? Why not, dude? You know? Okay. No, not that one. Where are you? Gameplay. Gameplay. Clover Pit. Clover Pit. Clover Pit. Gamba. 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 Okay. Sure. Give me I'm fine with doing a song request. As long as it's not too long, I guess, in the sense of if it needs to be cut out of the VOD, then it's fine, right? So in other words, if it's like an hour of something, then that could be, but if it's just like a couple songs, then yeah. Go for it. What would you like to request? I am certainly fine with that. And as long as I don't immediately... Well, I don't think I will get in... Hopefully I won't get in trouble. We'll see. Let's hear the request first. Now I get it. Get it on Spotify, and it's like around 1 minute in length and copyright free. Okay. Now I get it. Let's see here. Well, the thing is, I don't have Spotify. For one, I use YouTube, so we'll see if we can get it on YouTube. Let's see here. Now I get it. Song. Who's it by? Why is my game happening? I'm on a completely different screen. Okie dokie. Yeah, what's the YouTube channel? Or who's it by? 17 minutes long. Because I need either you need to send me the link or get it by Foxy the Fox. Okay. All right. Let's listen to it. I want to make sure that I can hear it. Hold on. Studio mode off. And then no, the links don't work in Discord. Or not Discord, Twitch. You'd have to do it in Discord. But I think this is it. Messing with the electric pods to try and make sure we won't be sent to our death. Okay. Okay. Hell yeah. Who made this? Was it you, Foxy? You wait, that Foxy the Fox? No way! But hell yeah. Honestly, it's impressive in the sense that you have like a whole album. Like, and it looks like people are liking you. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Who's Foxy the Fox MSBD? Is that an alternate? That's not you still, right? Is it? So Many Foxies? That's my best song probably, or until I release my second album. Hell yeah. That honestly does remind me that we should probably make music one of these Sunday chill days, because that is something that I want to do, that I need to do for the things that I'm making, y'all. It's music based. Alright, let's have this going on in the background again. That's not working. There we go. Sorry. I apologize if that was a little, that wobbliness was problematic for y'all. We're gonna put that back on. Alright. So I played a little bit last night from yesterday. And I unlocked all the drawers now. So the drawers are there. I learned music through only one tutorial, how to add instruments in FL Studio. So you use FL. I'm learning how to do Reaper. That's what I'm using as a music app of choice. Let's see here. But the goal of this is to, well, at least for me, I want to open this. I want to open this thing. I want to try that. But we don't have that. So we need to buy 4 and then lose to then get the bones, because what we need is all the bones in all these drawers and then one of these. I make the instruments in FL Studio, record vocals in a mix pad because it's easier to chop and add effects and change pitch. See, I have a MIDI keyboard and I'm still trying to learn how to use it. It's also like way too small and the cord is way too short, but yeah. All right. You know what? This isn't very gambly music. I have a feeling if I try to put on like copyright-free music for to play while gambling, it would go badly. So we're just gonna let the game be its own thing. So we're just gonna do this. We're just looking to put things inside the drawer so we can get the bones. Let's go, Gambler! Alright, there we go. So this one we're gonna put. Oh, we can't put that in. That's fine. Ha 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 ha. Oops. So we'll put you. We'll put you. Same deal. Alright. Lovely, lovely. Let's go, Gobbler! Okay. So now we have 3. So we have access to 2. Can I... 7. We need to survive long enough to actually get it. So we're going to have to do... For every restock now 0. You begin every deadline. Let's do you. I guess you. We need to survive long enough to get that. Made 6 songs with vocals my entire music career. That's so... It's good that you're padding it out. And right now you can only access one of those songs. Oh, really? Is it because that's the only one that's, like, public? Oh. Oh, wow. We lost immediately. Lovely. Good job. Good job, me. Alright, put in drawer. Put in drawer. So at least 2 are in the drawer currently. That's something, I guess. You didn't go to the Lux Shrine, I presume? Oh, yeah, no. You didn't see this yesterday. My luck is awful in this game. Equip. Equip. Okay, and then we need 2 more to put in. We need... Why did I take them out? Actually, no, wait. They would go out anyway. You did see it. That's right, you did. Yeah, that's right. You're right. Then why are you acting like I didn't go to the Lux Shrine? Why are you acting that way? You know Lux Shrine has no effect on me. There's no way. I upload all this to YouTube and I made it private because my family found out about my YouTube channel. I just made it enlisted. I did not delete. I see. I thought you would go after the horrors. After the horrors of yesterday. There is no shrine in the world to help me. There's nothing that can be done. I am a lost cause. And I watched someone else play this, and I finally realized what you were telling me. Like, there's no Lux Shrines around me. I can't, even if I wanted to. Because, like, let's do... Okay, let's at least try to... I guess it would be... this? Bells, and then I'll try twice on the bottom one. I'm just trying to get to 4 things right now. Okay. Okay. Okay, alright, okay, we're getting there now. Okay. Okay, how much do we need left? We need 7. God, we're gonna have to do normal. Okay, so we're only gonna be able to get 2 items right now. Only 2 items. Look at all those lemons. Look at all those lemons. Oh, gee whiz. I did see someone get into like the billions and billions and e to the exponentials, etc. And I'm like, bro, you got spoon-fed 90%. Like, look at that. That's a normal thing for me, where 6 out of 7. Look at that. What should I have done differently? Tell me what I should have done differently there. Maybe not done the second one bottom. Oh, I didn't put the item in the thing. This is what we're gonna do instead. This is what we're gonna do instead. Instead of trying to get bones, because obviously I don't understand either. I really don't. I'm gonna try something weird. Okay? Well, I am going to try to move forward without buying a single item. Right? As far as I'm aware, Twitch mode. Twitch mode? What does Twitch mode do? Huh? I'm kind of concerned / confused / interesting. Okay. Okay. Okay, Twitch mode is now on. Cool. Well, it's on now. What's this? Chat vote? Oh! Oh, y'all can vote on which items I can get. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's kind of cool. Good on them. I wish I would have known this yesterday. Okay. Nothing, 100%. Okay. All right. So this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking, okay? I'm thinking, thing is we need to know all of them. Right? I mean, I would probably be like, during the 30 seconds, I would be like, double every 7, we automatically get a crisscross. Crowbar, we get we get 3 free restocks. Like, I would gone on. I think is how was I supposed to know, right? Jimbo. Oh, we could get Jimbo. This effect randomly generated. Discard me after 3 rounds. Manifest more often. Patterns multiplier to +2. Interesting. Look at all these. Lemons have the that modifier. Honestly, okay. So this, yeah, Balatro. Yeah, it is Balatro. I think it's a call. I think bricks. Let's do bricks. We'll try to get the 4 again. This is the last time we're gonna try to do the 4 because at least there's an item here where I was like, ooh, that's something. We'll also get that. All right. Okay. So let's see if we can try to do lemons. We're gonna try to do lemons. Lemons. Get 4. We're not gonna immediately lose, but if we lose, it's okay. We want to get the bones. But one of the other things I want to try is, can we get to 666 without buying anything? Oh. Well, we're already there. Lovely. I re-listened to the first song and realized how bad I sounded singing. That's probably because I was drunk while making it. You made songs while drunk? That's awesome. That's honestly impressive. Like, what the hell? Let's go gambling! Let's go gambling! Yeah, all this is just extra. There we go, and then boop. I was surprised that it was even on beat. You can even understand the words clearly. Yeah, that is impressive. You were you were that far gone, huh? All right, let's see here. So Crowbar doesn't take free space. Just 3 free restocks is pretty good. But we're so early that I'm gonna say boom. Well, this one gives lemons that. I would say these 2 are pretty good too. Can I imagine you are allowed in casinos because like you have get kicked out as soon as you enter? What do you mean? They would love me so much. They would love me so much. They would take everything I own. You're not bad at music. Let's do golden clover. Okay, raises clovers and bells by their face value permanent for every 3 tickets you spend at the store. Oh. Well, if I do that, I can't do that. This one seems nice. You're not allowed to leave. Yeah, that's true. I'm so unlucky that it somehow goes back to being insanely lucky. Yeah, see, it just means my luck has to go somewhere else, okay? We will do, we're kind of leaning on lemons. Let's just do this again. One Trick Pony's pretty good. That's cherries. One Trick Pony is really good. Yeah. They really... Okay. At the end of each run, replace all Lucky Charms inside all drawers with new random ones. That's really funny. That's really funny. I guess we'll do one more reroll. Ooh. That's another 5. Damn. That's also unfortunate. That one's honestly not even worth it. Train. I want to like Train. I want to like Train. I really, really do. So I will. Let's do this, then this. And now this. I want to work up, but my bones doesn't want to cooperate. I believe in you and your bones. Alright, what's up? +1 charge permanently. Okay, let's do more charm slot. Trying to almost run over the chat. Almost is the keyword. Symbol, you score at least 1 pattern 4+ symbols. Raise diamonds and treasures by their base value. 3+. Oh, here we go. Raise all fruits by their base value. So we want the fruit one. Okay. What are we at? 1. So we're at 14. So we're gonna go down to 22. Really, Pitchfork reads 2024 version. But hold on. Oh, but they. Oh my gosh! Fine, I'm just gonna close you. I just want. There we go. My gosh, I was trying to select the thing. It wasn't doing. The butterfly were already insanity, but they put a die lit by gay boy? Gay boy Cardi? Why are you saying Cardi gay boy Cardi? What? Is that an actual name? Just stood up and all my joints popped. You need to work on your bones, Scallion. Oh my gosh. All right. Now pick that up. Was there anything? Was there something else? Oh right. 7 spins. Let's go. Immediately off the rip. Oh shit. What did you do, Record? That was so many 7s. That was so many 7s. And it completely ruined it. No more Record. No, I refuse. No more Record, dude. What was that? Okay, there we go. We got a single lemon. Isn't that great? Oh my god. What the frickety frack was that? You? Get in the drawer. I don't care about you anymore. Go. I don't want to, like, I don't, you know what? No. I need it. I need it. I can't, even if it's a small chance, I have to do it. Okay, there's something. That was at least something. Good thing I took it back out. Okay. Okay. Alright, now... There we go. Uh, 14. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If you think about it, Eevee is kind of like Lightning McQueen of Pokemon. What? In what way? In what? I'm so confused. I'm trying to think of any possible way that could be true. How? We barely made it. Alright, that's all ready to go. So let's just go. No. There's no do your own thinking forehead of this. You're gonna have to explain. You're just gonna have to explain. Double your Clover tickets. Double your coins. Halves the base chance. We need to halves the base chance of these. Think about it at a deeper level. I think you're just rage baiting. Increase all symbols by their base value permanently. That one's not. We want this one. I love the D4. The D4 is goated with the sauce. So we're gonna need to do this at least twice here. I said the same thing to someone and they were like, what did I do? How? This is the first pull. How did I hit a 1.5% on the first pull? I have just got 666. Literally just, it was like, oh, it could happen. And it happened immediately. What's with this game? I mean, I'm fine with it. Because I didn't lose anything. But my God. Wait. Is this door full of bees? Do y'all hear that? Oh. What? Hey. Why is there an arm in here? Why is there an arm in there? What? Why? There was nothing in there before. Why is there one now? The horse is here. I put this in here. I was like, I'm gonna put this in a drawer. And then I'm like, just kidding. And then I turned around. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Why did that happen? Okay, well, I have one of the bones. I guess. Okay. Now, more Gamba. And then the train's gonna have to hit because I hit nothing twice, because that's me, I guess. Okay, lovely, lovely. And by lovely, I mean, ha ha ha, what if, like, I lose? Alright, got that. So now, you can see my words quite well because as you could a month ago. Well, that's good, right? That's a good thing? Okay, now we go 28. We need to make 400. I believe in us. Let's go! 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 Cherries. I'll take it. I'll take it. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Time to put it all in there. In the drawer. In the drawer. In the drawer. In the drawer. Now,
we can get started on the skeleton key.
What happened to DaBaby Bro was unstoppable in his prime? Who? Who? What? Are you in control? No. Alright. Alright, now... Equip. 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 Train, don't look at me. I don't want... Okay, so... Increase all symbols by their base value for every pattern triggered if the second one resets at the end of the round. This one is really good, but only if I have a charge. But we don't have a charge. Honestly, I'm gonna risk it. Okay. Red pepper, I'm not the biggest fan on. But at this point, we need something. All right. Okay. All right, there we go. Cat gave us a little bit extra money. I was gonna say, please. There we go. There we go. Lemons! Lemons, thank you! Thank you, Lemons! Okay, the pepper's doing some work here. Thank God. Alright. And then we want to get to 7. There we go. I kind of want this one. Again, I still do love the D4. But only when we have stuff. Alright. We'll do one of these so we can get the D4. The pepper has been nice to us. Somewhat. Somewhat. Jesus Christ. Why do I bother playing this game? Didn't I say I liked this game? Maybe I misspoke. Maybe I said it. Maybe I talked this game a little too soon. I swear, man. Okay. All right. All right. We got something. Oh. All right. Pepper. Let's go. All right. Pepper. Pepper came in clutch. Pepper came in clutch. Okay. And I'll take it. I'll take it. We got by the first round, dude. Okay. So we have 1. We don't want to finish it. I want to check. Well, I don't have enough tickets for that, honestly. Okay. Alright, now I just need to get 240. We're going to get a phone call. Alright, what is it? Lucky Charms are discounted. Clovers manifest more often. We could go Clover builds. Raise Clovers and Bells by your base value permanently for every 3 tickets you spend. We could do Clover builds. None of these are going for one or the other. Clovers are about 15%. We could do Clover. We could do Clover. So we need to hit this once. Alright. Manifest Clovers more often. Alright, cool. There we go. Clovers a little more often. Look at that. That was a pepper proc? My God. That's another thing too I've noticed when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's like, you got increased luck. You got 1/3 drop. It's like, what? That was with luck? Boom. Did it count itself? I don't know if it counted itself. No idea. Go to the sandwich place. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. $16 for his big hell slab, and I'm gonna go feral. So good. Hell yeah. Then go for it. Tyler, the creator, naming songs after food, bro sandwiches, fish, 6 songs. Really? Listen, I'm not here to judge. What do I know, you know? Silly! Hi! Yeah, no. I'm still out and about. I missed you though. It's been a hot minute since you've been stopped by. I hope you get your phone fixed so you can hang out again. But I hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. What's that icon? What are you rocking? Hold on. What is that? Video Games Day? What is Video Games Day? And how did I not know about this? It's like, wait a minute. Wait a second. But thank you for stopping by regardless of the time that you have. Might be feeling that because someone's making food and wafting through the window. That would do it. That would do it. Gotta say. Let's see. Not 34. Okay, so we're now there. Let's see here. We have 14. Let's see. Perfect. Perfect. This is exactly what we need. This is gonna be fun. We have everything for the key. Now we just need to survive long enough to get this key. That's the point. Okay. So if we just need to get there, we're not going for green. We're going for gold. Actually, we still need green. Because our current build is not good. As you can see, it's not good. It's not good. Oh no. Oh no. You ever seen Voodoo Donut? Been to Voodoo Donuts? No, I have not. Is it good? Well, I mean, obviously if it's the thing you're super craving, then yeah, it's probably good. Boop, and yes, okay. It's very good. What's so good about them? What is it? Which one is your favorite? All right, what are we rocking with? Halves the chance of lemons and cherries, but increases the chance of getting 666. It doesn't matter if I increase the chance; it's gonna happen anyway. Make 2 random lucky charms to store free. What's it looking? Making cigarettes free would just be a free get. Double the value of all symbols until the end of round. Ooh, Vine Soup actually might kick ass right now. First things first. This is why we like the skull, by the way. 4 free items. 5% to your interest. That's good. Let's equip that. Lemon. We're not building lemons. Oh. We're gonna throw that away. It might be a vine sauce. It might be. Oh, Sin Stone. When you see 7 sevens, you turn them all into gold. We're not doing a 7 builds. We're not gonna see that. Ooh, free 1 free restock and 2 lucky charms. I will definitely take that. Hell yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna say we want clovers, right? Yeah, I think clovers and bells is what we want. So we don't want that. Let's make 2 random. That's the 2. Oh, that's fine. That one. Wait, it set it to 0, didn't it? I am upset with myself. I did that in the wrong order. We'll do that one. Damn it. Well, it's fine. I didn't get the free one for that one. 2 spins left. It's fine. Well, again, we're trying to do gold. We want 28. Perfect. Okay. Don't you dare. Don't you dare give me a 666. I will. I see you. I see it. I see it trying to do its thing. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. That was the record. The record. All right, gives me repeat. It doesn't give me extra luck. Oh, wait, it does? Wait, every 7 spades it repeat one more. Yeah, that's all it does. Okie dokie. Oh, are we gonna even get close to it? This is so bad, dude. This is so bad. Oh no. Well, there goes that. Oh. Really? Why? We get like 17. We have like 17 gold, dude. Oh my gosh, the only reason we're even afloat is because the cat's giving us interest. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I mean honestly, like, I guess, I mean a part of me wants to do cigarettes just to tone it down. We're not making it. We're not making it out of here alive, guys. We're not. There's no way. I have to risk it. We need something. Oh, I wish I got the lemon. Why did it give me that one? Alright, well, I guess you. I suppose. Alright, let's try it again. We got this. Oh, good. Alright, cool. What's our current setup? Okay, like 50% should be lemons and or clovers. I'm noticing a significant lack of lemons and clovers. Oh my gosh, dude. Can you not? Okay, well there's the D4 giving us something decent. Can you stop? Please. Oh my gosh. Just chatting or Gamba? Yeah. We're just kind of a little bit of column A, little column B. Put in drawer, put in drawer, put in drawer, put in drawer. There you go. We're trying, basically we're just kind of, I just kind of wanted to play this again, but we're kind of just doing whatever. It's me being bad at Gamba, which I don't know if that's even possible, but we are bad. It's crazy to me that it ain't funny. Danny Brown has been blocked by certain regions, bro. I don't know. I don't know what's in it. But yeah. What about you, Piranha? Was there anything that you feel like we wanted to do today? Or are you just vibing? Apparently not. Apparently I don't. Oh, thank God. Okay, we have this. We have golden diamonds. So we have at least something that starts modifying the symbols. The problem is it's 11% of that. But I think that's our best bet right now. Anything related to these bones are like 0%. Listen, I can hope. Okay? And got a giant Enderman plush. Ooh, that's neat. I was gonna recommend No, I'm Not Human, but I don't know anything about it. I've also, let's see here, how much is it? No, I'm Not Human. Throw that into game recommendations for Discord if you don't mind. No, I'm Not Human. It's going for 15. Because this is a game that I would like. You did clock correctly. Yeah, I thought it was on my wish list already. That's crazy. So it's a game that I do want to play. Like, a lot. But it was whether or not of, like, can I spend $15 as of right now. I'm not going to go into super big detail as far as my financial situation, but I will be a lot more able to spend more money soon. So that's something to look forward to, that it won't have to be like super cheap games all the time. Though I probably still will, because indie horror tends to be cheaper. But No, I'm Not Human is definitely something that I am going to play. Might have to start actual gambling. With my luck? No. Alright, let's do Ancient Coin. Alright, 7. Same deal. We don't have any luck increase stuff, so we're just gonna rip it. Rip it! The good thing that coin was there. Oh my gosh, it's so bad, dude. Okay, that's something. That's good. That's good. It was 12, but that was something. Oh no. Oh. All right. All right, we need this. No idea is we both combine our luck. We might win big because unlucky times unlucky means lucky. Yeah. All right, so 7. All right, so we got everything. Now we just need to like not die because we have everything. If we die before we get 4 items, then we're screwed. MWH, I think it's Monster. No, I was thinking Monster Hunter World. Motor, I don't know. Monster, yeah, I saw that as Monster Hunter as well too. All right, let's do it immediately. Let's see what the lucky coin gets us. Literally nothing. Okay, good. I'm glad I have it. That coin has never given me anything. I think it's really good if you like. I think it gives you an extra spin too, so at least there's something. Can I got one thing that whole time. Bro, why am I playing this game? Why am I here? Just to suffer. Oh, I beat Omega yesterday, by the way, Piranha. Not Savage. Normal. I had to do it solo with NPC people though, unfortunately. But I did beat it. Anything here that I want? No. The fact that I'm even still past this round is really just a miracle in of itself. All right. Okay, we have a thing. We have diamond. We have diamond. So this doesn't do anything well for me. Holy Bible, I will probably need. That's not good. That one's also not good. Oh my gosh, dude. Golden treasure. Okay. So now we have a treasure gold one. We have a thing that increases fruits. You know what? Get that away from me. It's really hard, I know. Whenever a 5-pounder during a spin, double the value of all symbols until the end of round. That one's good if we ever get there. 7s become golds. We won't ever do that. All right. Honestly, this one might be the only one that's like a maybe. Okay, we're re-rolling this. Is my store also cursed? like it's not. We have a diamond thing. Like, can I please, sir? May I have something, please? I guess I'll equip this, but like, damn. I guess I'm gonna re-roll again, dude. Oh right. Oh no. Well, 3 spins. Good thing that coin got us those cherries. But yeah, my friends and I have been trying to beat Omega for a long time, and they're currently struggling with Savage Omega. I think only one person has beaten Savage so far of our friend group. It's actual. We have not been able to beat it with actual people. People just die too much. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Lucky Charms, the score costs one less. I mean, I guess you. Then you. I mean, I guess I should switch to Lemon? I suppose? I've gotten to the third phase on Savage solo. I'm losing my mind trying to grind for the armor, right? Are you also on the armor sphere grind? Okay. I guess what I'll do is 14. Okay. Same dealio. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, cherries. No, perfect. Great. Amazing. Cherries again. You know what? Just keep giving me cherries. Just. Oh, sorry. Was I asking too much? I apologize. I'm sorry again. Sorry. Give me more cherries, please. Now, if I was going lemons, this would be pretty pog. Oh my god. Okay. 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 We got the chest just for the sake of just getting something on there. I've got Immortal Utility set up running, so armor spheres are a thing from the past. Really? What is your armor utility, Immortal Utility set? What is even that composed of? All right, let's also grab lemons, because why not? At this point, why not? 14. All right. We need 120, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, might as well be a million. Let's go. All right, working our way over. Uh-huh. There's diamond. Well, we got a single diamond proc. That's... Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, nope. Well, we needed 120. We got 100. In the drawer, in the drawer, in the drawer. Wait, are they all full? I'm so confused. Why did it not allow them in the drawer? Let me see it. Why didn't you let me put the last one in the drawer? It wouldn't let me put anything in the drawer. I'm so confused. Alright. Well, I think instead of doing anything with the bones, we should have a nice, normal round where we do nice, normal things. And I guess I'll just take the red pepper for now. And we're just gonna spin to win, baby. Let's go. Let's just have a normal round. We're not trying to do anything with bones. Where was this when I was trying to do stuff? Do bones make your give you bad luck? That explains things. I have a lot of bones. Over 200, some would say. Some. Okay. Well. Get over it all the way to 7. There we go. Nope. Bones are bad sign, I suppose? I mean... yes and no. There's certainly an ominous sign. Maybe that's equivalent. Maybe bad sign in, like... Well, I guess saying no, it's not a bad sign, and say instead ominous really doesn't... That's kind of one of the same, if anything. Okay. Well, we have this up now. Because even if we get all this up, it doesn't unlock this thing, because we needed 4. So, what I could do is that one won't do anything. I mean, we could try to do Clover Pot. I want to point out that Enderman is 5'5". Enderman is not 5'5". I refuse to believe Enderman is 5'5". I refuse. I actually refuse. Alright, let's do one more. Alright. Now, we'll go until the end of this run. That's what we'll do. End of this run. The plushie my friend got is 5'5". Oh. Okay. Diamonds manifesting more often is pretty dope. Well, if we do diamonds... We can do diamonds. We've done diamonds in the past. Alright, diamonds. Get you. Chance for that. Whenever 15 plus patterns trigger during a spin, double the value of all symbols until the end of the deadline. Really? That's really good if I'm want to go really well. Let's do One Trick Pony, I guess. Mushrooms, I hate this one, dude. I feel like it's just not good. We need things to make us hit more often, not reward us when we hit. Okay, we need to go to 14. Steve is like 6'6" in canon. Enderman is 9'9". And oh, okay. It's measured around 10 feet. So yeah, okay. There we go. So it is like a 5'5" is a plush version of him because he is like 10'10". Oh. I forgot I still had the horse out. I mean, that works. I'm fine with that. I was like, why am I getting... Why wasn't this the bone run? Where was this during my bone run? Bruh. You know what? I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I should have gotten the big mushroom. I was like, I'm not going to get 15 plus patterns, and then I immediately get a 15 plus pattern. Damn. Okay, well, let's get this up to near 200. Let's re-roll. Patterns trigger one more time this spin, for this spin. Triggers randomly. Okay. Very last pattern triggers an additional time. That's really good. Let's do Broken Calculator. This one's really good, but we don't have a button, so. Alright. There we go. Clover! That's what I mean as far as, like, the pepper triggering. Pepper's very solemnly is just like, it triggers! You get a single clover! And it's like, thanks. Alright. Actually, we should probably just end it. Get the 12 back and the clovers just off the rip. Let's just do that. There we go. Alright, what do you want? Double your clover, set tickets to 0. Double your coins, set that to 0. Activate all other current. This will just double, give me 0 to both, and then give me an increased double chance. No thank you. Though funny. Though funny. We are diamond maxing. I'm shocked how Eminem was both the most popular rapper and the most insane fucking person even ever in his songs. Right? Demon's Luck actually worked pretty well in our favor for a while. Let's do Crystal Sphere. I'm fine with that. Grab you. Let us do... We'll do... At the end of this, we'll double our... We'll put all our coins in, or at least get as close to as we can, and then double our clovers. Right? Or spend, etc. We'll change things. Ooh. Symbols multiplier plus 5 is really good. Anyway, so we'll hold off on that. Alright. 231. Or sorry, 28. There we go. Perfect. What we do, we don't need luck. Let's go, calculator. What does the calculator do again? I honestly forget. Calculate this. I really have nothing to say. I really have nothing to say. I don't believe this number. That's what so I do have something to say. The same is, this is not 1.5. I disagree. It is not 1.5. I don't believe it. Send it in, you could, I guess, general? We need like a video game, like a general in fact, you know what? Hold on. Should I just do like a general, like a video game channel? Oh, I know what I could do. We have video games. I'm gonna add in video game. I'm gonna add a new channel for Monster Hunter. Boom. Done. All you. Cool, yay. All right, so now the arms do just show up. The arms just show up. Interesting. Because there's now an arm in here that wasn't there before. So let's equip it. Let's see what happens. We're keeping that, so we're gonna go ahead and go to 28. Wow, that whole round I got 28 coins. That's wild. I lied when saying soup time. Oh, how dare you? Was it stew? Oh, I'll take it. Now we're starting to chain a little bit. It would be better if we could chain a little bit better. All right. Okay, so this is 55. So we're still at problematic levels here. Okay. Alright, I'll check it out as soon as this round is over. As soon as this round is over. That calculator has been proccing a lot. Even for only 30% chance, it's been doing a good work. Don't do this to me. Sir, don't, please. Alright, I think that's enough. I guess not. We were off by 29 points. I see. Well, I mean, I really do like this game, but I don't think this game likes me. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't think this game likes me very much. Let's check out Piranha's build. Yeah? Yeah, like let's do that. Let's do that. Let's see here. Numinous. Oh, so you're all the way Numinous. Speed Eating 3. So you're rocking you're rocking like the full on like super recovery kind of deal. Got you. I can see why that'd be your immortal build. Question, does the super recovery also get amplified with recovery speed? Uthaduna Greaves? Oh, you do have Uthaduna Greaves. Any particular reason? Well, I mean, besides the fact that Numinous Greaves, I think, only had like had essentially no slots. But mine is really funny. Oh, hold on. I'll show y'all what we're talking about here, because you know, why not? This is near the end, etc. Let's just also, before I do that, whoop. Boop. There we go. Quick sheath and slots. Yeah. Yeah, I can see. Sweet eating. I have a horn that gives divine blessing, so I'm not worried about it. Elemental absorption's not bad. I have a friend who like has full evade window, like all the way up, and it saves his butt a lot. Recovery up, and you know, the fact that you get super recovery too there. But like mine is really funny because mine has like a 34 thunder resistance and the new like alligator boy weapon that does that adds my thunder damage based on my thunder resistance. It's pretty fun. And then I recently farmed the Pinecone Dragon for their horn, because that one gives people stun resistance and defense up, and we needed survivability for Omega, so I did try to get that. Yeah, Monster Hunter World, I highly recommend. It is so fun. Wild is pretty good, in my opinion. Not as good as Worlds, but it's still very, very, very good. I recommend you play it with friends, because that's how I've been enjoying it. It didn't have negative fire resistance. That would be more flexible, but yeah, your dragon resistance is also just like not great. Wait, you're rocking Corrupted Mantle? Do you have virus gems? Do you also have virus gems going on? Because Corrupted Mantle gives you corruption, right? Or do you just out heal it with your recovery? Oh, I'm thinking of something different. Got you. Stories scratch my brain, right? I like turn-based games. Interesting. Okay. Well, good. Well, and I can out heal it. Well, that is pretty cool. I have Super Recovery 1, but I don't have 2. And like it's somewhat noticeable, but for the most part it's negligible. Super Recovery, I might switch out to not get Super Recovery, just because it's just not, the first one's just not good, or it's not as effective as I would want it to be. It takes 2 seconds and heals that mega. Yeah, I'm thinking I might switch Super Recovery out to try to get Speed Eating 3, because it takes so long, like some Sheath and Speed Eating combo, because it takes so long to put the horn away and then to drink and then put the horn back out, that I might just do that. I just might do that. So, all right. So,
we are nearing the end of today's stream. I'm thinking, let's see who's online. I wanna raid somebody today. Oh really? Is it really good? Oh, I thought it's too bad. I thought Ella was still streaming. Oh, the Velociraptorins are up. You wanna raid them? Oh yeah, I heard that the reload is really good with the Piranha. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's introduce ourselves to the Velociraptor-twins. Yeah. Well, granted, Piranha introduced me, but let's introduce the rest of y'all to it. So, what we're gonna do is we are gonna go back to the leaving, then coming online screen, and then we'll raid. So thank you all for joining me here today. It was so wonderful as always to have y'all here. Hopefully y'all had a great day, a good Sunday chill day. I wasn't 100% sure because of how late I stayed up if today was still gonna happen, but I'm glad I was here. I'm glad y'all were here. We gambled, we lost, we talked about high school drama stuff from our past, and it was just a fun time, and it was good. So yeah, so thank you all for being here, and I hope, and stick around for Velociraptorins, but if I don't, I hope y'all have a wonderful evening, a wonderful day, and I will see y'all on Tuesday. All right, stick around for the raid. See y'all in a second. Let's go.